So can one of you bang the thing? We call the meeting to order at 10:10. Very official. It's very enthusiastic. Alex, can you go? All right, we will dive in. I did text Vince to see if you. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. So I said this, but I'll say it again now that Alicia's here. I'm gonna self-designate myself as timekeeper because we have like an enormous amount of stuff to get through.
Okay.
So we'll try to just keep it going, and then whenever we need a break, we can just get scheduled in here, but we can do it whenever we need to work through it. You said you might have to leave at noon to maybe we should.
I need like 15 or 20 minutes to pick up the smalls and take them both home. He's gonna walk to and from here.
So
over to
break then.
Jiu-Jitsu.
So we have on here, the first thing is to review our goals. We sort of just remade our goals. I'll just read them out loud again. So our goals for this year. He's on his way. Our goals for this year were to coordinate, promote, and put on arts events in Estacada, including 4 to 6 annual Estacada Creates and annual Arts at the Creek Festival. And we put in Art Estacada, but we'll say the summer project to be named. The second goal is to support temporary and permanent community art installations and happenings in and around Estacada. The third goal, and I can give these to you if you want.
That would be a lot. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Is to coordinate with and support other regional arts organizations and groups, including RAC, ArtBack, other commissions, and other community groups in order to further participation and engagement with arts in our community. And the last one was work with others to increase awareness and participation in all events and arts in the community. So I don't think those need too much tweaking. We just sort of did them. We just need to rename our summer project.
I think we're rocking it.
Yeah. Our roles on the commission, we kind of talked about how that will need to shift a little bit. Jane, are you up to continue being secretary?
Yeah.
And Deborah said she'd be up for being treasurer. Are you full on treasurer? Do you need the co?
No,
Okay, so you're full on treasurer.
Mhm.
I don't know if we're required to have a vice chair.
We
think
did
so.
not have a chair before.
Okay,
Yeah. You just need like 2 people to be
yeah.
chair and treasurer.
Treasurer, so
Yeah.
that we can sign checks.
Yeah.
Sign requests. And then we had on there before, like, social media. I think that kind of wraps into what I can do as chair, with like an email I'm shooting off to Alex with a flyer, so. And if we can all sort of commit to just helping bump the social media, like it, follow it, put it on our own pages. I think that's something we can all do on our personal.
Hit going on every event.
Yeah.
That bumps it in the algorithm.
Yeah, just so it shows on everybody else's,
Mhm.
shows your friends and all of that. That would be really helpful. On the treasurer note, Deborah, I was talking with Alex before the meeting started about reimbursement stuff, and she said, starting in the new fiscal year, they really want all things to go through the city. So if we want to order or purchase something, we need to just like email them the link and they will buy it for us.
Okay.
So however that works, I think they're trying to do fewer reimbursements of the kind that we've been doing and more like they want to do the purchasing.
Direct purchase.
Which actually, I mean, we would.
Does that mean we have to
Then
like,
you're not putting out
ask-
of pocket.
does that mean they can deny us as well?
I
Even though
don't
it's
think
our money?
I don't think so. I mean, especially if it's arts commission money and it's for, I mean, you'd say like, this is what the expense is for and all of that.
Yeah,
My only question was sort of like smaller things, like if we need to go buy like snacks for an event, that's not something I can like send you an Amazon link for. I have to
Right,
go to
yeah.
a grocery outlet and get a deal. So we have like, I have to ask her about that. Have an Alex list, I'll add that to my, just to get like a little bit more clarification about that.
That's good to know, because if I can't get pies donated, I'll buy pies, and so I just need
And that will be-
to give
it's-
that receipt.
It
to-
will be the same now. It will be fine now. It's something that's like coming up.
Okay,
And that date is April 1st. The fiscal year, the
The fiscal year officially starts, I think July 1st.
July 1st.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
commissions change
Oh,
over.
and all the budget stuff needs to be submitted by April.
Just in case you need
need
it.
it for the
Okay.
committee.
I think.
I forget these deadlines of how that works.
Do you remember when
Alright.
the budget?
No, but I just know what our library budget looks like with Visa purchases. And we are going to need to make sure that we're tracking our expenses very, very carefully, because with what, if it looks anything like our library one, it's a huge amount of work to correlate something that just says US Bank Visa.
As like a purchase
That,
reply or.
yeah,
something,
which like from Amazon might come in broken up into however they
Yeah.
ship it, and
Yeah.
it's a nightmare. So we just need to make sure that we're tracking our expenses really carefully, especially for grant reporting. So
Okay,
that we know
can
what
we-
we're spending and what it's going to in our budget lines is
Can we
really
ask
important.
For receipts, like copy of receipts and build that into the process, like if they're gonna do the purchasing, like we want a copy of the receipt in our mailbox.
Well, I
Yeah.
think the most direct route is to outsource all of the purchasing through the request to the city, because then it's essentially their problem. Because is that what you're saying, is the library has a Visa that they make purchases on, and then you're trying to identify which
What's
purchase
what?
Well,
correlates
just
to
some,
what
if we're
expense.
filling out like this is what we did with the grant money, we need to be able to say,
Yeah.
like, this went to
Oh,
this,
gotcha,
this
gotcha,
went to
gotcha.
this. So I think if we ask, I think that's a great idea to, I'll just ask her / Alina about like, I'm sure they're gonna be giving us some instruction around this if
Mhm.
it's coming out to all commissions. So we'll have to get some more information around there and try to make a lot of purchases and stuff before July, so we don't have to deal with it.
And buy everything in June.
Right. So, yeah, okay.
Okay, cool.
So we'll work on it. And then collaboration opportunities, let's check in back after we do the committee, whatever that is, the summit. I think that will be a good opportunity for collaboration. We have that in our agenda, but we've also like recently met with the Parks and Rec. We need to probably sit down and make a spring meeting with Parks and Rec, our subcommittee, like me and Mike. Sitting down with, was it Vincent and Steven?
Correct.
To just check in the spring. I emailed them about art in the park recently, just to get that on our calendar.
Do they have a date yet?
I'd never responded. I
Okay.
haven't gotten. our
Well,
response
and
yet.
isn't there also Robert who runs the funeral home? Isn't he part of the parks show thing or whatever? I got an email from,
He does the shows. I don't think he's on Parks Commission right now, but
Okay.
he still volunteers and
Okay.
organizes.
That's what he.
The
yeah, I got an
concerts,
email
yeah.
Oh, the
from
concert
Elena.
guy.
Yeah, he was linked in there and we were.
You're
trying
talking
to
about Rob
coordinate.
Gaskell?
Yeah, Rob
Yeah,
Gaskin.
Rob
Okay,
Gaskell.
you said Robert, I was like, who's that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That was just his email, what said on his.
Cool.
He basically it seems like he does all the work for the concerts in the park.
Right, well,
But
yeah,
he's not part of the commission technically. I don't
okay,
think.
okay.
But we can definitely ask if we meet with Steven and Vincent. I bet we could ask him to come and so we can just have a
Right.
chat about that.
Yeah, there was definitely a thread going around that was involving Vincent, Rob and me about, and I think that they're trying to firm up some of the like sound engineering stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, I would,
So that's on the to-do list is to just check in with them. I think we said sometime in like March.
Hopefully they have a date before March.
I know, I
Because
love it now.
we
'cause I
should
had, like,
be promoting, like, that should go out if it's in May.
that's when they start, is in May.
no,
The art in the park is in May, so if
kids part of it.
Yep.
they should get the applications out for that pretty soon, I would hope, or at least a date.
Art in the library, that is something that Deborah has done in the past. How often does that switch out?
Previously, it was 4 times a year. Without a direct contact at Spiral, it's been a lot more difficult to find and schedule artists that frequently. So if we wanted to keep doing it 4 times a year, somebody would need to be a lot more hands-on in finding artists, or we can just bring it to twice a year, or
When did the most recent one go in?
end of November. Merrick's art went in, and then we switched and brought it here. Like, I really think City Hall would
What's their
like
house?
us.
Did you say, is it Nina?
No, this is Nina's
Okay.
that was here in late summer and fall, and now Merrick Stanton's
Is in there right
is
now.
in the art, is in on that corner now.
For December, January, and now.
February.
Who's the person to talk to now at the library?
I think it needs to go to the director, Michelle.
Michelle?
Yep, organize it through her.
And who did you lose contact with, or you said you
Oh,
lost? your
Spiral
spy-
Gallery, Carl used to be on the commission. And
Okay.
so he was very hands-on in arranging artists, and he's still totally willing to come and help us hang art. Just, you know, shoot him a quick email and he's great about that.
Before
Carl.
Carl,
It's been hard to contact. It's been, they have been.
Well, it's a
not very
co-op, so
communicative.
everybody,
so before
Probably
Carl was on the commission.
so many
we
cooks in the
didn't- it
kitchen,
wasn't
but no
Spiral
one
Gallery.
is making the sauce because I
It was,
think someone
okay,
else is
how
doing
did
it.
you guys do it then?
Yeah, so it used to, before Carl was on the commission, it wasn't exclusively Spiral Gallery. It was any artist that we knew, like we had brought in people from Portland. We had, I want to say Boyd Holloway or something like that with he had pictures from Peru, but he put up like 92 pictures, which is why we had to redo the wall. But just local artists that weren't connected to the gallery, it was usually people that people knew on the commission and just like,
How many pieces of art, like how much does the space look like?
so it used to be like 20, and then when we put in the hanging rack, the idea was that we would
It's like
contain it to that corner
There,
of the library.
approximately.
So it could be fewer or
Mhm.
more depending on.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the size. You can do
I wonder if we could do like an
anywhere
open
from like
call.
5
I
to
was thinking
20.
that, like,
Like,
yeah,
depending
Post
on
an
what
open
they
call,
are.
like, we'd love to feature local artists. If interested, could you send a photo of 5 to 10
Got it.
of your?
You have
pieces
to
of
check
art?
with Michelle
Okay.
before
I'll
you do
email
that.
Michelle about it. I will email her, and figure out what the deal is about that. And can I maybe say I'll email her and try to figure out some more information, and then we can chat about it in March at our next meeting?
Mhm.
Mark's okay to just leave that stuff out first.
Oh, yeah, he's super chill. And it's really nice art, so I don't mind having it there for a very long time.
Right.
I'm excited to see it here.
Okay. I don't know what communication plan is. I didn't put that in the agenda. Hey.
Oh, hey.
That was in there and I wasn't sure if it was yours, so I didn't really know what that was. I am gonna try to be a little bit more open on the communication and like sending us all an email like the Monday before our next meeting, just to be like, hey, don't forget there's a meeting and here's the agenda and minutes. So if we can get that together, so we can, you have the minutes and I have the agenda on like the Monday before.
Does Alex do a preview like that?
Oh,
I know Elena does a preview like that for the other commissions where she's like,
But like, I have to send it to Alex anyway.
Right.
So I can just send it to Alex and include everybody,
gorgeous.
so that you guys just have it. And sometimes it's good to remember, because it's hard to remember sometimes.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
is it the first week or the second week or when it is,
Right.
just to make sure we all are on. And everyone, and you don't have to, it's not like it's. I just think it would be helpful sometimes.
yeah, and we can maybe go semi-paperless with our minutes and stuff like that, because there's,
A lot.
If- it's a lot of paper. I know we need one paper copy probably per meeting for records or something like that, but if you're emailing everyone the night before or the Monday before or whatever, you know, you can go over it then, you can whip your phone out at the meeting, go over it.
Yeah.
And
great
then
idea.
you're not going home and recycling. Unfortunately, Steve, I texted you about the meeting because I had written all the notes and what time we're meeting and everything on my minutes. And then Steve just threw them in the recycling because our garbage day is Friday, so Thursday night, everything went out. But
Even if a handful of us have a chance to review the minutes before the meeting. then we can
it's
just sort of-
faster too, yeah.
I'm all about efficient meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the 1% committee. Deborah and I mean.
Yeah, okay,
It's a huge amount of work.
they,
And
yes.
we don't know who's supposed to be.
So in order for the committee to start, somebody, the way that it's set up in the city charter, whatever, a person on the Arts Commission has to chair the 1% committee. in order to start the committee. And then you can do all the process of recruiting the specific types of people that need to be on the committee.
What is the 1%?
And those,
No
For
idea.
large city projects, 1% of the total budget is set aside specifically for public art.
Oh,
So
okay.
the Wade Creek expansion and the new community room has about $35,000
Okay,
specifically earmarked just for art, and there's lots of ways to supplement that with other grants and stuff and different kinds of funding.
But it's a very
Um,
specific process, like the
Mhm.
committee has to have like local people, artists, community members, like it has to.
Yeah.
we
It's
had,
a very specific process.
can we get a more specific menu of? Is that somebody from Public Works is, and you know,
Like a
like,
blueprint
is
of
there
Yes.
like a itinerary of who's supposed to make up that?
Oh, yeah, we have all of that.
Okay,
The real piece of
Broken
it
down.
is there somebody who has enough bandwidth on the commission currently to head up that? As a.
well, I
project?
feel like with everything being sort of shaken out, us coming to terms with doing less events. And more specific delegation, I feel like that's a very worthwhile thing to do, especially if there's a pretty substantial budget.
Mhm.
Might be something that we could talk about.
Could me and
My thought is we have new members on the commission. We're about to have another new member who's bringing in a lot of weight.
Lot of-
And
lot of
organization
zhuzh.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because we have a lot happening between now and September. Like most of our events are happening between now and September. So I wonder if our September planning meeting, we can maybe try to have that as a goal for the September planning meeting.
Mhm.
Once we have a little bit more longevity, everybody will have been here for a little bit longer.
Well, and maybe
And
do
that's
Prime
sort of a
Beverly for
chunk
that,
of our
you know what I
stuff.
mean? And
Mhm.
then, cause I would like to help see that through, but like you're saying, it's obviously a pretty substantial time chunk. Whereas. You know, if she needs a second in command, I get the feeling she's retired and has time to put into.
But she also moved here as an executive like a year ago, so she might not be, we'll have to talk to her
Yeah.
about that, but she might be somebody that could really help that, and then with a local person who's been here for longer, help her to do that.
If we wait
We
until
should have it.
September, my schedule should feel a little more manageable, and if the chair means organizing people and then delegating other people to do things, by fall, I should maybe be able to do
Yeah,
that.
I would
Okay.
definitely be interested in contributing to the
But-
whole thing too.
And then here's the other thing that's a possibility. When they did the Broadway project, they actually hired an outside firm to handle that through Clackamas County.
Oh.
So even though there was a chair, I think Jane Reed was the chair of the 1%, or maybe
Mhm.
Katina, I'm not sure who it was. But whoever it was actually working with Clackamas County, and that was part of the funding that somebody from the county that had experience doing these projects was leading the project and organizing it. So
That
that's
sounds like a
something that
great
Melanie
idea.
also said, that that's an option.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
to bring in outside help to make that happen, because it's a pretty good chunk of money, and it should be more of an outward public process and not
Right.
a closed process. We do want community involvement for public art, so, yeah,
Okay, so let's.
So
put
there's
that at
lots
the
of
top
other
our agenda
options.
For September.
awesome.
And then by then we will have gotten to know Beverly more. We all will have been here for longer, and then we can reach out to Melanie and see like, is that something?
Was there limits to the 1% that what it could be used? Is it just like
It's.
for
there's-
any, like just various, any artwork?
I
or-
think there are a lot of different ways that it can be used.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be like, I mean, we talked about it, it could be like tiles that are artwork, it could be, you know, a mural, it could be a fountain that has art in it, it could be a sculpture.
So they
Permanent.
did a
Yeah.
redesign in the office over there. We just bought art for the wall.
Yeah,
I mean,
There's a lot of
yeah.
different ways, and
nice.
Wade Creek will be a
That's
really
cool.
cool one,
Yeah.
because.
yeah, it'll
There's
be a good
space.
chunk of change.
Well, but within, I'm sure the considerations of the budget, you have to consider like, are we gonna hire a professional consultation? How much is it gonna cost for Public
Mhm.
Works to put it in? Do we have
All
to,
those
you know what I mean? There's so
Yeah.
much more that goes into it besides like, this is a $10,000 sculpture.
Yeah, here you go,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a little bit more complicated.
You don't just drop.
That
it.
is totally doable too.
Yeah.
Like, we could just decide, a request, you know, make a commission, do a simple request for proposal for a sculpture to go in this location, set up our criteria for it, and put out the call.
Mhm.
You know, and that could definitely be part of what we do. So there's it's so many different ways to approach it. It really is. It doesn't have to be super complicated.
It can be as
But-
complicated as you want it,
Something like
as you make
being
it.
hired to help with that, because again, we are all volunteers and our bandwidth
Mhm.
is limited. So, but again, if we, Beverly seems like she might
Mhm.
have an expanded bandwidth.
By waiting until
Maybe.
September, do we lose anything?
Nope,
Okay, yeah,
It's
then-
not at
there.
all.
so that makes sense.
That's why it's been sitting there for. a
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, nothing else can touch that money. It is.
Because
And,
there's
and it's
also-
something we can think of, we have, 9 months to think about it and think, you know what, I think hiring that guy will work out in the end
Well, it's not
because,
just that park, there's also
or,
the Overlook Park, which is that
Mhm.
little cul-de-sac park over by Nicole's house. There's like a little development community park, but there's a little bit of money for that one too.
okay,
So it's not just waiting.
Yeah. And if we were to hire that person,
wait, look,
another part would be like, set us up a process, so we're not like
Right.
scrambling and trying to figure out how we do this
Yeah, it might be
process every
worth-
time,
worth
like,
the money in the end to,
establish
Well, and it's
a
in the
public
city's
art
interest.
process
We do a-
for
We do a
Estacada,
lot
yeah.
on our own island as a commission, so this feels like a very appropriate time to ask the city to hire someone to help guide that process.
Well, and then like you're saying, if we take advantage of that professional counsel and then sort of glean as much.
maybe
that
we,
next
maybe we
time-
only need to hire him once,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
exactly.
maybe
or-
just-
Exactly,
Excellent.
so that
Yeah.
we have processes and stuff in place and kind of a bank of knowledge that we can
Right.
rely on, or future commissions can rely on to do these projects, because obviously the city's there's gonna be Lakeshore project, there's going to be lots of other larger scale projects that come up in the next, 10 to 20 years that will have public art components, so. Cool. Tabling that, moving on.
Okay, moving on. We're on a good pace, guys. Here we go. All right, getting this out of the way. I have like a pile of paperwork to fill out all the forms to make sure we reserve Wade Creek for all the days that we need to for 2024, as well as the form to reserve Chambers in September for our planning meeting. So let's get it off the books. 'Cause I want it off the plate. So last year we did it like a couple weeks into September. Does anyone have anything major in September? I would love for it to not be the first 2 weekends because.
Yeah, when you
first
start
month of
school.
Kindergarten is real.
Yeah, isn't that like right when you start school?
Yeah,
Okay,
You wanna push it? I mean, you wanna push it to first week of October or something, or, I mean, I guess we have a,
so our September meeting will be the 4th of September.
we're thinking 21st or something like that.
If we did that, it would be like halfway between the September and October meeting, which might be kind of nice. We don't have an event in September.
Can we please not do the 21st? Because I really want to do a Talk Like a Pirate event again at the library.
Yeah.
Y'all can come.
Sweet.
So maybe just push it to the 28th so I can do a library event on the
That's
21st. It's
That's
gonna be like
great.
super fun.
That's the cutest.
If we do it on the 28th, we
Saturday
can also
here.
be super efficient and then the following meeting can be real quick.
Yeah,
Okay, so the 28th,
yeah.
does that work for everybody?
Awesome.
Love it.
I don't plan my life out that far in advance.
I totally do.
It's really far in advance. I don't think that I'm thinking.
LinkedIn. Tempted to put Talk Like a Pirate Day on my calendar.
Put
right
it
now.
down, bug me, be
Okay.
like, Deborah, you have to do this.
Okay.
Your
You know, it's,
corsets are just languishing under the bed.
it's technically the 19th, right? That
Yes,
would be-
but-
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
Programs are hard.
Did
cool.
we want it the same time? Does this time work for everybody like 10 to 2?
The library programs totally in here.
We're like ahead of schedule of this agenda, guys. Go team. Okay, Estacada creates for the year. We have the haiku and pie related arts. I have Alicia and Dave on that. The room is reserved. May 9th is when our collage workshop will be. I already have Chelsea. We already have her scheduled for that, and she was gonna help us with a list of supplies. The collage workshop was also hugely popular. So we thought last year, like, we need to have just like a box that has like cutting mats, exactos, like a ready, set, go, so we have that for painting and collage every year.
What was
'cause
that
those are
date?
really big. It's May 9th. Is there anybody who is willing to help?
I will be out in Florida,
So not them.
so yeah, not me, sorry.
I think I can do May 9th. I can help.
Knowing that there's two things in May that we need coverage helping with, and one will be the art in the park. Which will presumably be like May 4th, May 11th, they usually try to do it, I feel like that's around when it was last year, the beginning of May. And that was a Saturday
Mhm.
from like 12 to 2.
May break is the 13th through the 17th. And
Okay.
I won't be here, but there'll be lots of kids with no school, nothing to do, just so you know, I mean.
Do you think
But
they're-
they also might also be in Seaside where we're going, so just something to consider.
We don't schedule that, that was a perks, I have sort of requested that we maybe put our names together on it so we can co-promote it.
Mhm.
Because the parks didn't have any sort of official booth or voice there.
Yeah,
Gina was there with her child in her booth. But then like, we were there in the front with our sign and everyone was like, great event. I was like, wasn't us.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
But I think if we're bringing the interactive piece and they're bringing the booths, I think it's fair to say we're co-promoting it and co-sponsoring it, but they are welcome to set the date.
okay.
If it's the 4th or the 18th, I would be happy to do that, and I know that our new outreach librarian at the library, Roxanne, would also probably love to be at that event as well. Just to do promotion, and she's
Cool.
super awesome, and I hope you guys meet her very soon. 'Cause
A
she's
new
great.
kid over there?
Seems really nice.
Roxanne,
Roxanne.
yeah, she's great.
Oh, was there a write-up or something that was just on the city page about new additions to the library?
Yeah, it
Right?
was like a email that went out or something. I saw that too.
This is how this is how the
Yeah.
library works.
Roxanne was in it, and then like two other people.
If you have some
Yeah.
new stuff, and
No, totally different thing. Yeah.
I can help set up for the collage, like be their second on the collage workshop. To help set up. for that.
Cool.
But the art in the park is something I did last year and I super enjoyed, but I'm wary about my bandwidth because I have my big art night event on May 2nd at school, which is like my big, huge thing I do for school. So I'm gonna be like, I can help set up for that, but I'm not gonna, the
Yeah.
art in the park might flow.
I cannot do art in the park for sure because my kid might want to participate, in which case like it's touch and go how long we'll
Right.
be there, so.
And that's essentially
We have
just set up and
two of
tabling
Ellie's paintings.
for art in the park.
The art in
We
the
have two of
park,
Ellie's
we,
paintings.
Vince and I did it last year. We basically had like,
The
brought a
buttons.
table like that and put paper on it. And then like refilled paint and had little kids like painting all over the table. And then we made buttons.
Yeah, like they
Which
do
we
little
borrowed
custom
from the
buttons.
Really
library
fun.
before. I could maybe make a personal appeal to see if we could borrow it again and buy our own button supply.
There is in the storage unit spin art stuff, there's a whole tons
that's
of
fun.
colanders
Oh, yeah,
and
very cool.
supplies for spin art. I think that would be something really fun to do for
Kids
art.
love that.
Cool.
And
It
depending on
basically,
date,
like,
I am totally happy to
if it
kind of
was the
take lead
4th
on
or the
that.
18th.
Yes,
Okay.
I don't have any particular skills for that, but I should be available early.
I mean, it's really like you're hanging out and like,
Yeah.
hey kids,
Yeah.
come over and do a fun thing.
And I can bring my.
If I
fourth
get
grader
good
too.
directions,
I could
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be-
jump in on
I
that,
mean, usually the
support it.
kids will direct you. They're like, I need help cutting this out. Can you help me cut this
Yeah,
out?
right.
And yeah.
I'm-
It was super laid back.
Yeah.
I mean, we just like hung
Yeah.
out, did art with kids, and then we really try to have our, like our flyers out of our events to hand out to people. It's very low key. I mean, there were like maybe 8 or 10 kids booths and just kids wandering around and you're just hanging out, chatting with kids and doing art. It's very low key.
I'm available, I think any of those Saturdays, because we get back from the May break on 16th. So
Okay, I'm gonna put down that a bunch of you are available.
depending on
except
date.
me.
Everyone but you and Jean are available.
Fair enough,
And you
because
said they have,
Well, and I'll
are
put the
taking
co-op.
lead on arts in the, yeah,
Yeah.
so you've got enough.
I'm trying really hard to do this.
Yeah,
That is good.
And the
Do
date
that.
has not been solidified for Arts in the Park yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so that's what you're trying
Our
to make a
date's
suggestion of
solidified.
when.
For
Arts in the Creek, art in the
Yeah,
park
art?
is not.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I will find out about that. So in the next meeting, we can solidify who for sure, we get at least 2 people. I mean, it's like, the setup wasn't that long, the event's not that long.
right.
So that should be.
And I went to the collage workshop last year, so I can
Cool.
be available to hand things out for that.
Okay,
Needed.
that would be great. Cause I can help with setup, but,
You know, I plan on being at the collage workshop, so I can definitely.
What
help with
times
that.
are the clause workshops? 7 to 9 still?
Mhm.
so I have Jean, Jesse and Dave on the collage workshop. We can.
Yeah.
handle that. We have, so I'm just like working through my calendar and writing down who's doing what. But in July, we don't have a date, but if we're gonna stay with the second Thursday, it would be July 11th.
Thought we were gonna,
Do a chalk art workshop.
oh, right.
Does not have to be July 11th, just that's the second Thursday. That's what we're gonna do.
Potentially. I was gonna well, I already started researching, so I was gonna take the lead on that because I think it's
Okay.
super fun. And that ties into chalk walk stuff.
Which is next on my list. Do you wanna do it on the 11th?
Let's wait and see who I can schedule and what kind of thing that they want. Because I'm thinking that it's not gonna be an inside event.
No.
If we're
I'm just
doing
feeling-
a sidewalk chalk
Right.
demonstration.
If
So-
you're gonna want people to really show up to, it might be like, that might be when we do like a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
It's like a summer Saturday morning. It could be like 9 to 11 on a
I
Saturday.
think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
That feels
I
more
was thinking earlier, definitely before 7 to 9, if you want kids. Saturday is nice too.
I like that idea.
And
But let's try, if
Would
we
that
can get
be
that
at
date
Wade
soon,
Creek
so we
also?
can put it on a calendar.
would that also be at Wade Creek or is that all over? Cause
Wade
wasn't
Creek has a
there,
lot of sidewalks.
wasn't there a whole thing about sort of decorating and or directing towards the upcoming creek event with the chalk walk?
Yes.
and
So
making
this
it
is
all-
sort of an ongoing, so Chalk Walk, we're trying to really promote,
Okay,
throw it in, that's next.
Go
all right.
Fourth parade.
4th of
Summarize.
July,
4th of July.
instead of handing out chalk at the library in the middle of July, I thought, why don't we hand out chalk at the 4th of July parade?
We could.
Yes.
Stickers on the chalk boxes, come to Arts at the
That's good.
Creek, blah, blah,
Signs
blah,
on the
signs
wagon.
on all of our little
If
wagons.
we want to do that, and do we want to be part of the parade and actually do something different than logging trucks and fucking?
Yeah.
Yes. Cute to decorate
be
and
great.
just to bring your kids
Yes.
and hand
Now
out
we have
chalk.
time that we could figure
to
out, like,
everyone.
we got the trailers, we got hay bales, we got hella kids we could throw on there, we can, like you're saying, prep all the gear to go out, and there's
I think
so,
Isn't there a big banner too?
Little red
Or no?
just walking.
Wagons.
Yeah,
Little
just,
red
we want to be
wagons.
kind of on the sides to hand stuff out.
Wasn't there like a
I
big
would love
art
to
commission
make like
banner?
a super
Or no?
colorful ultra
just-
day, like float.
If you
through.
want to dive into
Yeah.
it.
Just put that on the little wagons and we
Right.
all have like,
Flat
Something
parade.
that's
and I
not
want to
like-
wear a rainbow tutu and.
Yes.
Happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we're gonna bring like,
A
it
hundred
could
percent I
be
mean.
like we get some balloons and we have them tied to the wagon, just
Yeah.
something that we know we can do.
Vibrant.
Yeah.
And that we, so.
Okay.
And I think
It's awesome,
that
dude.
as many of us as possible, anybody, and I know our schedules are maybe not set for summer, but as many of us are possible. Can come to that and like bring kids, bring whoever, and we just try to make like a group effort of that for whoever's around.
Oh,
July.
I'm so into that.
Yeah, I can do that. Steve will be in a Parks and Rec thing. I
Mhm.
think the last time that's what they did where he just had a little
That's
golf
awesome.
cart.
Yeah,
sort of a
Maybe
thing,
we
you
just
know.
all wear our
And so-
shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a.
So we'll be there anyway.
Autumn has her own.
We
and
really
she'll
have a
hopefully
1,000
march
left.
with us.
Not a thousand, but we have many.
Okay, enough for this year to do a similar, okay.
Oh, sweet.
great.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'm gonna put group effort there and just hope
Mhm.
everyone shows up.
So we'll be able to promote whatever date we decide for the chalk art workshop, the sidewalk truck workshop, and also be promoting Arts at the Creek.
What
Like that.
what would be really lovely would be to, like, it might not be done by March because March is soon, but like if by our March or April, we can really solidify the chalk workshop and those few things. I'd love it if Maddie could like whip up another calendar that we could just hand out all year.
Do we need to also include that in the budget for printing and design?
That goes into like admin costs.
Okay.
Maddie is volunteered to make those. I'm gonna see if I can just give her like, these are like 5 things we'd love it if you could do, and she could probably get those done, you know, in a week. But we could give her, if we give them to her now, then she could do it like a big chunk of it, and then we won't have to ask her throughout.
Perfect.
And the way that these things are shaken out, it's gonna be a little bit more like, last year it was a lot of like, we're saying it, and then we hope we have somebody to do it.
Yeah.
But this year we have fewer and they're more intentional, so I don't think we'll have like calendars that we're gonna be like, sorry, we canceled that, sorry. We canceled that.
Mhm.
So, great, so 4th of July parade, I'm gonna bring this up about Timberfest again. I feel like there's no possible way I'm gonna have the bandwidth to do Arts of the Creek a week later and have a booth at Timberfest, even if it's just art. It's still like a lot of work and prep and all those things. I don't know how you guys feel, but I love the idea of having like a sandwich board out or something. That's
It's
Jordan's doing it. at
20th,
Timber.
21st
The
is
week right
what we
before.
heard, yeah. I
I love the idea.
Of
it.
June?
agree,
20th?
of July,
Yeah,
Like that month, we will have the
Oh,
4th of July parade. We
I
will have the
probably
chalk
won't be here.
workshop and we will have the festival.
and the festival is
It's a huge.
it's a
amount of work.
huge amount of work.
What Timberfest
Which-
is down at Timber Park?
Timber Park.
Jordan knows because he's doing that.
Uh, I put it on there at the request of our council representative. Jerry was like, you know, it'd be great if you could do some art. I think that's great. I think it's awesome to have representation everywhere. I just think the bodies are hard to find, especially in the summer.
I would
Just
happily
sort of-
send flyers with Jerry. Jerry can go to the table.
Can we just sort of replicate our effort for Art in the Park? And just do a similar sort of like, here's some paint on a table with some spin art and.
Or yeah, like a little, yeah, I mean,
There'll be a lot of kids
it's
there.
Timber Festival,
There'll be a lot
so you
of kids
get
there.
little pieces of wood. My kids love drawing on that. And
Oh, I got
they're
it.
Well,
Or the
the-
rock-
like, you know
rock-
what I mean?
or-
Those
Yeah,
little
no, and you put
round.
necklace on them, you put
Yeah.
your on it or whatever.
So
little-
who's gonna do that? 'Cause
I-
we're gonna be
Cross
camping that
section
weekend,
of-
cause we'll be here the
Yeah.
weekends before and after, so.
Yep, we could rip
Calendar.
45, 50 of those on the bandsaw and
Well,
just.
I'm hearing that you want to be on that.
I would do it with you. Mike and I-
I'm just gonna say this, if I could just like group stern and sit at those tables and make art with kids for a couple hours, that,
The question is also.
That's what I
if
do, eh?
Timberfest is like we need to find out for sure, is it like 2 days, 8 hours every day?
We don't
Because we
have
don't have
Tim-
the bandwidth.
oh,
a
so
it's
specific
dedicated.
date
Yeah,
scheduled.
it's like 2
Okay.
full
So
days.
it's
But at
more,
least
we'll
the
be giving,
past
the
has
way they're
been-
it's
gonna.
not full
July.
hour section, it's
Oh, it's
two full
definitely
days.
July, July.
I'm
is
gone,
And that's what
I'm
people
gone
have
the
been on
12th to
Timberfest,
the
like,
14th.
do we have
until-
enough
Yeah, I
people
was-
to, like,
so
run
I'm
shifts
just-
on that?
Okay.
I was like,
so
I'll
you-
come down for 2 hours,
then
Uh,
not 2 days,
Yeah,
not 2
we're gonna
days.
aim for
Can-
Saturday.
that'd be tough.
13th
I'm-
As the
I
weekend,
can
that's
ask them.
kind of what works
Maybe
best
we
for me,
show
because
up
I
one
think
day.
the other weekend is too close to 4th of
And it could,
July.
I.
Busier day or-
Then that
or-
kind of just kind of
Out,
spaces it out a
like,
little bit.
At
So you're
least
gonna do
have
your
a
chalk
sandwich board
art
out there.
thing.
with,
Chalk
like, a
art
box of
workshop, I'm
flyers.
aiming for
Yeah.
this.
So we
And
we
then
can
the
have our
chalk
promotion
walk
there.
is-
My
The
question,
chalk
it's
walk
not
Oh,
whether
yeah.
or not we
a
can throw together an
self-directed
activity, it's whether or not
The
we have
idea
enough
of it, it
bandwidth
hasn't
and
been super
manpower to
successful in the
man up
past.
for
Well, we've
8 hours.
gone-
Even if it was
Okay,
one day,
so
8
the
hours
crazy
is a really
version
long
of
time.
chalk
Yeah.
That's like a
Take it
lot of,
home, you make
that's a lot
art,
of shifts,
Yeah.
a lot of
pictures
stuff.
It's a lot of people,
And
Oh,
it's
that's
a lot
the
of kids.
second half
you
of
know what I
it
mean?
that doesn't.
So it's
Can we,
not
like,
a day.
just-
I'll
It's
have-
not a
do-
day,
Oh,
yeah, we've
okay.
never done,
There we
there
go.
are chalk festivals
I'll
that
have
are
to
Yeah.
think
like
about
that.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's July 11th?
that would be
Or no?
awesome,
Like
but
20
Oh, that's okay, past.
That's solstice.
Yeah.
Is that,
I would do
Yeah.
it with you, Mike.
Love how social.
If you
it's not solstice, that's June 21st.
Mike, you wanna do
Yeah,
timber?
Rob-
I'll do timber.
Oh, June, okay.
You know what I was thinking is cross sections of conifer branches.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if it's sketchy to do like the wood burning, like probably it's pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
You can bring it and you can oversee
Bring-
older
bring-
kids or something.
Yeah, right.
But I would do
But-
paint
yeah.
pens, yeah, personally.
Or are those, can I get those paint pens back?
I guess, yeah, no, of course, yeah. I haven't used them all yet, yeah, no, oh, yeah.
So again, the question is not whether or not we can throw together an activity. The question is whether or not we have the people to
Right.
run the activity
Yeah.
for the longevity of the event. Or it could be like,
We could set up for 2 hours
2
in the
hours,
middle of the
right.
event or 3 hours.
We
So
would
that
the
was-
meter day, just
that
bring our
came up with
kids down there.
Oktoberfest.
Exactly.
That would be also a way of us being involved with also creating an event for our own families.
Yep. Yeah,
that's just sort of an ongoing question that we need to have a realistic
Right.
check on, because that also was the question at Oktoberfest. Because they were like, we really want you to be there for the whole event, and that was like a noon to 8 event or something, it's a long event. So we have to think about,
Only if we can
Well,
set
the
up next to the
volunteer-
Trump stand.
and I also,
No, here's,
I
They'll
also
have-
think
hopefully
we
they
could
don't
put
have
out the call for
Oh, they
volunteers
will.
to help run,
Especially.
if
in
we're really
election.
invested.
here's my thought.
Good
If the
enough to
city
do.
is asking commissions to donate a full stretch of a day, knowing commissions only have 7 people on them, they should be assisting in finding volunteers with us. That's my
That
thought,
is also
because,
gonna Come
That's a
up
good idea.
during the summit.
Okay.
This month. Of everyone's gonna try and pool their resources, volunteers being the key sort of anchor to that effort, so.
Because it would be different if we could
Yes.
have like a commissioner and a community volunteer.
Right, or
Then we could
several
spread ourselves
volunteers,
out for
right,
a
Mhm.
longer
that
period.
come in for 2-hour shifts or whatever.
Because and the stuff that we're setting up, like, Joe Blow off the street could help run it.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of like, a commissioner should probably be there to represent the commission and do the things.
Did you,
Um,
so if you're talking to Rob Gaskell at some point, I remember there was a day that Ellie and I were over at the library, and across the street, his wife was doing this event at the
20th,
workshop.
21st,
It wasn't
30th.
publicized or anything, but she had like all these kids crafts and stuff because she'd written a children's book. And so she's trying to promote her book, and she'd done all of these crafts, and it was really fun. We just like dipped in for a minute. And so I was thinking like, oh, I wonder if there's like people who can promote their art, who generally do art for kids, who could maybe help with something like that. And then we could let them have their cards out for their stuff and be like, hey, but can you run the crafts? I wonder if she'd be somebody to maybe touch base with.
I actually met her, and I haven't officially met Rob, and she's delightful.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
so-
great.
People
so-
want to have a children's book at Yo-Treats?
Probably.
maybe.
It's like the mouse family that went to Ireland.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's really cute. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if she'd be interested in.
so,
So all those things are great, but it's all about having somebody who's willing to do the coordination.
Yeah.
so for Timberfest, it's the 20th and the 21st.
Yeah, I will
June?
email him again about the exact timing, but I believe that's the date that he told.
And so maybe we can volunteer a booth for the one day of the 2-day event.
Yeah.
And for limited hours of that one day. So do you email, see if that's okay?
Yeah.
And if so, Mike and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah, we always need stuff to do that's not video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I could
There you
take
go.
my kids. Dottie will sit next to me. Henry will run off and
What if
do what he does. He'll be
September 28th.
getting rescued off a rock
Oh,
or
yeah,
something
that's
the
a
other
good
day,
call.
but whatever. Daddy does that.
It'll be
nice.
He won't, he's in the right place. Yeah.
It'll be nice
exactly.
weather anyway.
Yep. Did you see the thing?
I think it was that last weekend of September.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Also like.
Should we, okay, never had an aha, guys,
Some.
that weekend that we chose to do the planning meeting could very well be the weekend of Oktoberfest.
Ooh, the September, oh, yeah,
28th.
that would
Yeah.
be
Should-
not
should we
good.
Bump it to October 5th.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
Maybe we should find out when Oktoberfest is and then say one or the other.
Mhm. Just to be aware that that might happen.
Is
October
that
first
also
from
because we
September.
are?
Yeah, I know, it's
Last
confused
year.
me
Yes,
too.
I know.
We're trying
I
to-
would like it to be in October as well.
Yeah.
Oktoberfest, okay.
I think Oktoberfest was hugely successful and it would be a
Yeah.
great place for us to promote ourselves.
As long as we can be next to the Trump.
That's,
I love it. Contrast.
need 2 of them right next
I'll be
on
there
both
with
sides.
all my anarchist patches.
I'll do one on this side, you do one on that side.
Yeah.
We'll flank them.
I think that that's a great, I think that's just
Kill
one
'em
of
with
those
kindness.
events. we
Bring
want
all
them
our
to show up for
flags.
us, we should
Just
show up
stop,
for them.
never stop smiling.
Dressed all
I mean, it's easier, at least for me, it's easier to commit to chunks of time on a weekend during the school year than it is over the summer when people have these like trips and all these things going on. So I think if we could commit to helping at Oktoberfest, that would be great.
All right, so
Okay.
Timberfest is a definite maybe.
Yeah, I will email
Depending
about the
on-
timing and see like, this is what we're coming.
If we
this
have to
is-
be there both days, probably no. If we have to be there for 9 hours, both days, probably no.
Yeah, I'll just tell him this is, we talked about it and these are the things that came up. Cause if he also has his army of volunteers, maybe he could spare a volunteer that would help.
Yeah.
If it's for an interactive activity or something like that, he has been wanting us to
Mhm.
jump in, so I will email him and ask him all these things. And then just in the interest of going through the calendar, there's a handful more things coming up. Arts at the Creek, I am gonna head up. Last year, we formed a subcommittee so that we could really take action on things that weren't budget related and then come back and bring it to the group. Mike, are you down, since your music, you kind of are default on that?
Absolutely.
What's the date?
It will be
27th.
July 27th. It will forever be the last Saturday in July until we feel like we need to buy new signs. Cause we have our big street banner and everything says last
Oh,
Saturday
that
in
being
July.
said, can we, did the street banner actually get hung above the street?
Yeah.
It was up for like a month. It
On
was
the
right
street?
outside of Harvest Market.
It was.
Over there, okay.
And I never
Yeah.
looked up.
I won't
We could
be
maybe
here.
Order
at
another
all.
one. And
Yeah.
if we don't order it from Whitney Signs, it can be like way cheaper.
Thank you.
I won't
Like-
be here at all, just so you know.
You what?
I won't be here at all.
On that
The end, we're probably going from the end of mid-July until mid-August. We're doing a National Parks road trip.
Oh,
First road trip with the kids,
That's really cool.
so.
Is there on our subcommittee, is there somebody else that wants to dive in? It will be a time commitment. Somebody that can help, really what I can coordinate a lot of it, but some help with the logistics pieces closer to the date of would be really helpful, like helping plan out where things should be and the logistics of like the parking and.
I mean,
Um,
you can definitely count on me to be the sort of anchor of that event too, just
Okay.
with, as far as like we did last year of laying out plots, where everybody's gonna go, how many vendors are gonna be there.
Maddie did it help with a huge amount last year, but now I feel like it is a little bit, like we have the application.
There's a
So we
structure.
can do
to
that again. There is a structure to it. I feel like it will be.
And the
doable.
whole artist
Familiar.
side, engineering side, I got that already fairly well carved out, so
Okay,
we can, you know what I mean? I would say like,
we lock it down, you and I, and then if we need more
if
people,
you,
we can.
if you can, I mean, like you
I think
said,
the piece that I will need some help with, which Alicia would not require you being there on the weekend of, is like foot soldier for fundraising and stuff.
Beverly would
Okay.
be a good person to talk to about
There you
this,
go.
if Beverly is gonna be on the commission.
Like
and she's
um,
really.
like-
walking
because
business,
last year,
like
like-
what we did with Paige
Like I. did
fundraising, where you walk
around-
business to business and ask
I went
to,
around with fundraising
take a
letters last
donation.
year and like put myself on repeat on these businesses, like I'm part of the Arts Commission, we're running this event, we'd love to have community involvement.
Mhm.
Like I sort of alone went up and down the streets and did that last year, like that I could use help with, the
Okay.
fundraising piece. I could
I've
use
done
help
that for Paige many
can I-
many years.
with. Can I
Yeah.
put you on there?
Yeah,
And that's all
Um,
way before July.
and-
That needs to
and-
Like
happen.
that needs to start happening, like I will have the forms and stuff, the letters and everything.
May.
Made by April,
April, okay.
Yeah.
like March.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
March.
No problem.
I
And,
honestly,
and what is
I want
the,
to-
in March.
what is the pitch? So for like Paige, it was like,
Well, can we?
you know,
come-
will you make a
Instead of
donation
getting
and,
timekeeper, can we
Oh.
come right back to this?
Sure.
And just run
Sure.
through, there's like two more things on
Oh,
the
sure,
calendar
sure.
and then we'll come back to Arts of the Creek, because
Okay.
Arts of the Creek is like a big conversation.
Okay,
Like
cool.
two more.
no problem.
So like that would be really helpful, because like foot sold, like the stuff before the event, that's like the stuff that it took a lot of time. to do.
Totally.
And then the day of, we can like get everybody who's here to help.
Yeah,
cover.
yeah, and I can do flyering and all that, cause that's also a month
Yeah.
out, like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
We're
Totally.
gonna do everything way sooner. I've already put out emails to the vendors with the save the date. We've already contacted some food carts and stuff with the save the date.
Okay, yeah.
Like stuff has already gone out. Christie's will be there.
Here's another really awesome thing. We've also had people that weren't involved last year already contact us for this year.
Oh, that's great.
So
Like,
that is just like a
People want
super
food carts.
encouraging thing to happen. So
It's already there.
yeah, even though it was stressful and we might not have felt like we were 100% with it last year, we had an impact and people are,
And the
we're
feedback was
noticing,
great.
so
People were
that's
pumped
really
about
cool.
it. People are
Yeah.
excited about the next year, so it'll be
Yeah, I'm your
Okay.
Huckleberry.
Awesome. And then there's two. One more thing, really quick on me.
Yep.
Jean, are you doing NaNoWriMo
Sure.
October? Jean,
So that's October 10th.
10th, does that work?
Yeah.
So between July and October, we don't have anything.
Nope.
Okay, because I'm just doing this.
We do a
chronologically,
push
so-
for the Arts at the Creek and then we breathe until October.
Okay, great.
And then we do NaNoWriMo October 10th,
Okay.
if that works for you, Jean. And I
Yep.
will submit the thing for that. Sure.
I can help set up
And
that
then,
with you, Jean, if you need.
Um, I told, do you wanna do that one at the library and maybe tie that into the youth writing group
Yeah.
that we talked
Oh, yeah,
about?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
So I will coordinate with Jean on that one as a co-sponsored event with the library and starting our teen writing group.
awesome.
Sweet.
You.
Alright, sponsor, so we don't need a Wake Creek one.
We don't need Wake Creek. I will schedule that one for the library. Yeah, because that ties into programming we've been talking about now for like 2 years. That's what we're gonna do this year.
The other two things that are on our list that we need to just have in our brains are the December tree lighting, if we want to be a part of that, and redoing, our December music event, which I think we have lots of thoughts and feelings about that, and we can revamp it a lot this year, but I think we should definitely do it again, because it's super fun.
Mhm.
And I think that we can shift it and make it, a little different.
More Christmassy.
Yeah, more Christmassy, different crafts, but people were pumped about it. Christie's is totally down to be there again already, and if we want to do that again, I think that was a fun event. We could definitely do.
I still have my little things up.
What if we-
They're too pretty to throw away.
Did the music event
After the
as
lighting.
part of the tree lighting and just made it a much bigger event. And
And
that way we'd be
carve out
fully,
space for ourselves.
yeah, and that way it would be a full collaboration with DEC and not just, oh,
Good
help
idea.
us. It would be like, we're providing, music and a craft
Up
event
at
and,
Wade Creek.
no, it would need to be somewhere
would
in
have
the
to be
downtown
central.
area, but,
Well, and what about, I mean, I think that we could do something as. I'm gonna say simple from a production standpoint as vocal or like a horn ensemble, like we've been talking about, to correlate, to bring more of a. Production to the Christmas or the tree lighting, but. Doing a separate music event up at Wade Creek isn't like. I can handle that pretty easily, and I think that what we missed was. It was a little bit too, it was like the day that break started, you know what I mean? If we did it on a weekend. If we
Yeah,
did it-
Saturday.
And doing this thing like during the day
Mhm.
is like.
Yep.
yeah.
Those of us that have like the under 10 kids. 6 PM is kind of the cutoff where it's
Yep.
shot, you know what I mean? And then if it was like. There's so much traction in Estacada of the visual. Like you drive by the library and you're like, what the hell's going on over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People will just pop in. So I'd be down to do both of those things in December. I mean, I think that's also like when everything's
Also talking
primed
about doing
for-
like, and shifting that event to being more of like some like adult crafty things, so it could be
Mm.
sort of like a workshopping time where instead of even having like a major, it might just be like quiet Christmassy music is happening in the background.
Right.
And we are having like a craft event where you have like a couple hours where people can come and do like fun crafts for adults and kids.
Yeah.
Like
So that was sort of like, I think
Wreath
people
making or
wanted
something
some.
like
late, late afternoon, the 14th would not be honing in too much on the, when would the tree lighting be? Do we know if
Oh,
it's
it's usually
December
the-
1st?
They did it the 1st of December.
Yeah.
The first Friday, so that's a 6th.
I think it
So
is
if we-
first Friday to coordinate with, Spire.
So that's the 6th, so maybe we want to do. I mean, Friday afternoon, kids are out by the 20th, so. Like, the last day of school probably is gonna be the 18th, I'm guessing.
19th.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. The 19th. So do we want to do the 20th, or is that too close to
I would
Christmas?
vote for the 20th because we thought the last day was the Thursday and then our our kid went to read day, and so then we were
Yeah.
up late, and then we're like, oh shoot, that's right, you have to be there at 8 in the morning
Tomorrow, yeah. it's
So
great of
I
you.
am 100% on board with Friday if we do it the
And-
last week of
And
school.
the school.
We
is
could do it
really-
afternoons too, like
Yeah,
12 to 4. or
Yeah.
something, Or
I'll be all the way out if we do it.
1 to.
And read day is over with by 10. Because there's a lot of
Yeah.
kids that go
Yeah.
on Friday to
Yeah.
read day, and the school is also like, if you guys don't show up for read day, we're gonna start having school on Fridays, which I'm
Mhm.
like, do it, you know?
Yeah.
Don't threaten me with a good time. I want these kids at my
But
house
it
on
is-
Friday too.
It is a vital
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
them keeping the structure.
So what if we did the 21st on Saturday then? So we're not honing in on, or are we saying read day is good or read day is bad
I
for
think
the
read day,
event?
I think
I
that,
also think that knocks out everybody who's working on a Friday though.
well.
Yeah,
that's true.
totally.
I'm like, I won't be able to help at all.
Yeah, let's do it
Yeah.
on Saturday, the 21st.
A Saturday might be better just
Yeah.
for families to be able to come together.
Yeah,
Still be afternoon, so it's not too early, not too late.
Is there somebody
Goldilocks.
that wants to jump into coordinating that?
I will help. I need help doing
Not
that.
to do it on your own, but just to be the coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, I can do if my primary tasks are in July and then again in December, I'm all in on both of those months.
Okay.
Okay, me and you?
And then,
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
we're
I could also
Cool.
create enough material or salvage enough material with, because we're getting into some larger scale tree farming efforts. Where if we wanted to do like wreath making and just show up with all of the.
I think.
That's a
we-
great
I think
idea.
We would sell if we could have kid crafts.
Yeah.
And some like legit cool adult stuff. that
I
we-
love, I
Painting-
pay so
painting
much to like
ornaments.
make my own ugly ass
Yeah,
wreath
stuff.
every year
Well,
at
you know
someone's
what else we
thing
could do,
because it's
Alicia?
fun.
Is, I don't know if you
So-
know the Laurel Hedge, but those guys
Mhm.
do, it is. Yeah.
It's
up
so
on-
beautiful.
Okay,
It's this couple that is a Bay Area transplant from like 25 years ago. They run a landscape, really high-end landscape business. And they've made their property into their show. They
oh,
have a
nice.
Building up there where they resell all of their like reclaimed stuff. But they do wreath making classes, so maybe we could like
oh, that's cool.
crash course.
Yeah,
do it
I
right.
usually go to White Owl Acres. They do one,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Well, we could,
yeah, they're massive.
we could kind of crash course ourselves on how to construct some.
Cool, I love the idea. of
We
that
would
being
have
like
to
a daytime
buy, we'd
thing.
have to buy rings and obviously greenery, but maybe we could see about donations of greenery as well.
So
Rings,
question, and
maybe
I
not,
think we have
but-
to table the planning of that,
yeah,
since we're 10 months ahead of time.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
we can get together in November and like,
And
hammer
but
it out.
for that, because I'm in paperwork mode, will we want the Wade Creek Community Room for the 21st then? Should I try to block it out for the day?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, and the fire pit was a huge
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
fit too,
Right,
so
nice.
if maybe we want to do it, I mean, it gets dark at like 3:30, so if we wanted to do it at like 1 to 4 or something like
Right.
that, where we could have a little fire pit out, but it's not night.
All right, so I will fill that up for Wade Creek. And
Estacada
then
Creek's
the
holiday.
last big, oh gosh. We've taken on a lot, guys. Poetry in public places will come up again. We're gonna talk about it, but Dave is heading that up,
I guess so, yeah.
and I know that you've been working on the proposal. Should I
Yeah.
put your name on that too? I feel like you're
Um,
on a lot of things.
my thought is I will be involved in this initial part and getting it approved with City Hall and council and then leave it for other people to finish that process. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
That we'll work together, we'll get it approved,
Mhm.
and then whoever wants to really run with running that program can do it.
And again, pieces of this are a little bit hard because we have our new member who might jump in and be like, I would love to help with that. So we can sort of present her with this and be like, what would you like to jump in? Because that might be something that she'd want to jump in on too.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the very last thing for real is the summer project, which will be relatively simple. Vance, are you still up for doing your cartoon map thing?
Yeah, I would definitely be into that.
And then I'm happy to
need to-
help co-create the back bit.
So what would be like a deadline of getting that done with?
We want to be able to hand it off in June.
Okay, perfect.
So if we could get that, the front of it, like May,
Yeah, that sounds decent.
and then I'll work on the back and I'll just sort of bug everybody for ideas and stuff
Mhm.
as we go to make the back.
Yeah.
And then I'll connect. Back and that, like, whatever it is for the sweep, I think it would be fun to do like, at the end, we'll do a drawing if you turn your board in for like a basket of prizes. And then we don't really have to worry about that until we could do that in September when summer's over.
There you go, like a swag bag of stuff.
Yeah,
instead
and
of-
like if you can
yeah.
turn in your passport after you've done the things, and then we'll just do like a random drawing for like a little bag of art supplies.
That's perfect,
something
yeah.
Like that. And that would be relatively simple, I think. Deborah's having thought.
I am having thoughts. My thought is definitely bring that up at the committee chair meeting. That is a spot where the library could partner for summer activities as part of summer reading program. So I can definitely help you with that as well. Yeah, and I'm sure Parks and Rec and DEC are definitely gonna have stuff that they'll want on that
Yeah,
as well.
I'm happy to sort of work on that on the side.
Mhm.
I don't think that'll be a ton of work. It's just gonna be some like chatting and filling in the blanks a little bit. I don't think it'll be a ton of work.
I was just thinking like on the illustration that I was gonna be doing, to add just like, cause like you'll see references of the city, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
you would, just add the fundraising, people that fundraise, like add them to like,
A
The-
little sign for them or.
just add their like little detail on location and name, you know what I mean? Or their logo
Yeah.
of the, like, kind of not big on the map, but just like, be like, oh, these guys helped us out, you know what I mean? To
Well,
represent
it might
them.
I wonder if it's something that we could sell them on if we wrap it into fundraising with Arts at the Creek. And we say like, hey, if you can donate to support the commission for Arts at the Creek, we're also doing a summer art, like a summer project.
Yeah,
So you could get that
Exposure.
in the hands of 100 families.
Local
in
exposure.
Estacada.
yeah, local exposure.
500.
Local exposure, yeah. like
I'd
the
say
more
at
you-
least, I'd say at least 500
Yeah,
families,
like
because
we are
that's
gonna
gonna
be
go
handing
out
this
at
out.
That could be an
everything.
incentive for fundraising, kind of.
Yeah, and that's
If-
something
if-
that we can hand out at every
Right.
event once
Yeah.
we get going in June, and like, I will probably end up being the person that shows up, but like showing up at the concerts in the park. Like, that's an ideal time to give these out, like, this is like a coloring sheet, an event. That was really an easy way to promote stuff for us, and that was pretty low key to do that too, so. Great.
So one side will be
One
the
side will be like a
map,
coloring
the
sheet
other
slash
side will
map,
be like
the
a
other side will
little-
Be the events.
oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean, it'll be events, so we talked about it as being like, go to the 4th of July parade,
Right.
attend a concert in the park. Go find
It's
the
bingo.
murals, like do a mural walk, and it might even have like Jordan's QR code for the mural walk.
Right.
It's like, just like a
Exactly.
little bingo sheet kind of, and you just ideas for family art related or
Okay.
just really community related things. It doesn't necessarily have to be art, just summer events to promote. So that will definitely come up at the committee summit. We'll see who, like, if you have a thing, let us promote it. And I think that would be a great way to up fundraising for our.
Yeah, and like I said, by May or so,
Yeah, I
Okay.
think May would be great. And then
doable.
hopefully we'll have some fundraising done by then.
Oh, yeah.
And my bet is that the people that donated to Arts at the Creek last year, at least like the Eagle Foundry, I bet we're good to hit them up again, and I bet they, like, let's look at our shirts. Can you also promote us again this year, because we don't want to make new shirts. But yeah, that should be a good selling point for.
Good way to strong arm people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on our
Some
shirt.
shirt.
I feel like we had an event last year. A ton of people were like, we might be, but then nobody, like, very few people followed through with donating to us last year. But this year we can go around, like, part of our spiel can be, like, we had hundreds of community members there. It was a huge hit. I mean, we had a lot of people there for a first time event. We had a lot of people there. We would love to promote you. And I don't know if how we add them to our sign, if we do that, or if we add them to what kind of promotional content we can add them to this year. It might be mostly web related. But again, on the summer project, hopefully we can get some more people to chip in
Mhm.
this year. And again, it's always being sold as we are fundraising for Arts at the Creek, and anything that's left over, which there's not really much left over, but if there is anything left over, that goes to fund free community arts events.
I will talk to Alex about getting, and Elena probably, about getting a permanent webpage set up for Arts at the Creek, because
that
if
would be
this
great.
is something that's going to be an annual event that we're going to do every year,
And then
Like,
our
our
sponsors
fundraisers
are.
want their
Yeah.
logos there.
Thank you to
Yeah.
all of our
We could
sponsors.
Pick some pictures from last year up
Yeah.
there, so we can really like pump it up and sell it.
And
Well, and vendor
especially
registration
like, and for
volunteer
grant writing,
registration.
like that's something they ask for is what's
Well,
your website?
And we
That's
also,
gonna be
like,
an amazing thing to promote us year round, yeah.
And you asked for those numbers, like we can put that in our fundraising letters, like
Mhm.
our art related. Our arts workshops and events reached like 300 people last year.
Yeah.
So like we need to put those numbers in. Cause she was asking me for numbers and I was like, oh. I mean, it's kind of ishy at the Arts at the Creek, but
Yeah.
there were hundreds of people there over the course of the day. In addition to all the different workshops and things, like we reach a lot of people over the course of a year. And so I think if we start dropping those numbers and people like, you're really reaching the community when you engage. So, great. Okay, I'm done with my calendar. We all signed up for some things. Thank you. This is when we sort of said we would have a break. Do we want a break or do we want to work till noon and then do a break when Mike's gonna need to leave anyway?
Well, if by break you
Snacks?
mean get more
Eat
snacks,
snacks?
yes.
Please eat the snack.
Take all
So,
yours.
Jean, you didn't need more help for NaNoWriMo since you have Deborah, right? Or do you want help maybe just like
Yeah, 4th of
setting
July,
up?
so it'd be cool.
I don't mind setting up tables.
It wouldn't be that, wouldn't have to put too much into it, I mean,
I don't think so either.
you know,
Okay. I'm starring all the things that I just said I would help
Yeah.
with, so I don't forget.
I think.
So I know,
That's fine.
I'm gonna do July
You're welcome to.
Yeah,
4.
I've got that
Two,
down.
two.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, I've got it marked.
Sweet.
I
I'll
s-
come
Sort of
late.
winged it with the activities last time, so if you wanna help even with activities and stuff, that would be cool.
Be there.
So I volunteered for the parade, Timberfest, and the tree lighting and the Estacada Creek's Christmas, because I won't be here for Arts in the Creek.
And I can
I won't be
definitely-
here for the chalk art.
And I can definitely help with the December stuff.
Well, I mean,
For
you,
sure.
you can still get chalk for your kids and make.
Well,
some
I'll
chalk
be here
art.
for the parade.
Okay.
Steve will be in it anyway, so he can take one kid on whatever they offer him. And I can throw a kid, or I can have a kid walking with me. So we've been in a couple parades. We've been in the 4th of July parade a few times and in the Veterans Parade a few times.
Oh my God, they're
And,
right sides.
Well, yeah.
The kids love it,
Are they sold
you know,
with
of
it?
course, and
No.
like we always grab a
It's-
bunch of
it's a
candy to like
whole-
pass out.
whole
So if it's
following.
chalk instead of candy, it's same diff. And who doesn't love parade? I am, 4th of July is semi
So, yeah. and then
ruined
so,
for me
like, they're
'cause
on
my
the right side,
cat
they've got
died,
stickers,
like
so-
my baby,
I love it.
Mr. Baby.
And I'm still in this like. bullet journaling
Died
mode where
2
I,
4th
like,
of Julys
check my
ago
calendars
because
and-
no
Yeah,
vet was
I got
open
out of
on
that.
a
I do
Sunday,
my, like,
4th of
monthly,
July.
I'm gonna do,
And
like,
I
my
drove,
weekly
around- I was
layout.
in the
I
parade
did that
And
for
and
like
then I came
5
home and
years.
realized my cat was
And
gonna
then-
die. And I put him
Yeah,
in my
I have
car
it
and I drove around for like
Mhm.
6 hours.
This is my
and
favorite for
widening
Steph.
circles to try to
because
find a
there's,
vet
like, an
open
index
that would like take him and he finally
So I
like.
started.
the-
this is-
Share
But I
Yeah.
finally got
Yeah.
him to, I think
So
I got to Double
started,
Lewis. I went out like in
color
concentric
coding.
circles
So I
from
just wanna
Estacada.
check my
Finally
step
got
count.
down to Northwest Portland
Cool.
and they put him
Yeah,
under
but
to
I
see
love
what was
them.
wrong
I
and he
love playing around
never
with
came
them.
out from the sedation. So I was, and I was like in my like 4th of July outfit, like with like a little
Specifically on
sparkler
here,
fucking headband.
But I did not.
I was
on track
like,
to get a lot.
it's the worst.
Cool.
So I sat out last year's.
Yeah,
But I think
and
I'm ready to get back
you
into
wanna
4th
take a
of
look at
July.
Deborah? I noticed that you put this poetry in public places proposal on here. Have you shared this? with
Have
me?
you seen Steve's
No, I
crazy
just
4th
did
of
that.
July Estacada three-wheeler? So he did when he was in
Tell
Page.
anybody.
Or no, not Page, when he was at
I mean,
White
I
and
also-
Kennedy,
most of the-
he
another
did a
time
thing
I'm
for,
driving, so
for Coke.
Oh.
He worked at
Yeah.
White and
I
Kennedy.
think
Yeah.
we're gonna,
When you guys were married,
Yeah,
I think we're gonna table the discussion about the winter sale participation and tree lighting till October.
That sounds
Did
good.
you ever know?
So I'm gonna cross that out with the podium.
Virginia, Virginia. Little tiny
If we
blonde
wanna do
pixie.
winter sale,
I think
we
it's-
add that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to
Doesn't
talk
sound
about it
familiar.
Yeah,
this
'Cause I
summer.
used to go.
yeah.
If the winter sale is something that. you want to
Okay.
add As an event.
Yeah.
Everyone was making real good money, getting real. good.
So what?
Oh,
they used
yeah.
to do-
Oh,
Are you talking about the Founder's Day parties and like the holiday parties? Yeah.
Bill,
Oh, yeah.
We
Scott
actually,
used to
before
just
he
do
worked
it.
there,
They have this room,
Were
They had,
invited by
like,
Cyn-
a lot of
Cynthia,
the same
who
people year to
dated your
year to year
friend
to year.
Chuck.
They had
for
the
a while.
booth over there
Yeah,
to check
and
out.
a
They
bunch
had
of
like
friends of ours
drawing
did.
events and like
Her
a
and her
wine
boyfriend
bar
at
and
the
like
time, not Chuck.
all the
worked
booths
there.
and everything.
Steve and
in
I were
here.
invited,
I mean, it was a really
And
nice event,
we stole
Um,
some art without realizing. it.
but
they
it
had all these
also
big,
was a big thing.
animal
I think that
sculptures
it could
everywhere.
be like
In
this room
that-
with
I don't
booths,
know
not
why
that
we were
upscale. The thing was that the
many
Winter
different
Artisan Show was
substances, and
also a
we were
fundraiser
leaving,
for the arts
and I had
commission
this,
because
I
we
had
got
been
a
like walking around with
cut
this owl.
of their field. Yeah, so
And
they
we
had
just
a
like
single
left
checkout
with
booth,
it.
and then
And
like
like we strapped it into the
20%
car with a
less.
seatbelt and took it home. And then like then we were canceled 2 days later
That's the
for
thing, the
something,
Christmas
because
tree lighting
Steve
used
was
to be
DJing
over
in
in
Houston
front of
and we're gonna
Harvest
go see
Market,
him.
so that's why it would happen in the same
And
time.
our friend
Right.
called us
Right.
and was like, hey, do you still have that owl? And I'm like, yeah, he's
Yeah,
like on
'cause
our
then you're
fridge.
putting
We're in
the
Texas
artist
right now, but we have a
outside.
house sitter, so we have cats or whatever. And
And
they're like,
In
we need
December.
that freaking owl back, dude. They sent out like
Yeah.
an all hands.
So
email.
$1,000 owl.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
feels like a.
Yes,
No.
they had, they had commissioned all these animals. I mean, there was like a giant stag, there were all wolves.
I mean, it worked out.
All these kind of
because,
cool
you
winter
know, there was
animals.
First Friday
Pretty
was
much
Halloween,
like-
stuff going on in front of Harvest Market.
And
They
then
had a
Steve
music
got
hall that went from,
hired
like, the
there a
different
year,
organizations
2
from
years
Montreal
later.
who had
We went
their
to our
extra
first
room. They would have
official
musicians play, and
holiday
then
party
people would,
where
like,
we were
wander
properly
around
invited, and
downtown.
people were like,
come
the
through
owl
here, get
people,
some
the
art
owl
show."
people, you stole the
But
owl.
it's being used as
You
a-
stole the owl
right
2 years
there.
ago.
What? They didn't say
Where's
hi,
the
like,
art's gonna go?
No, legit, people were
Yeah.
like, oh, that's how I know
Yeah.
you, the owl
Oh my
people.
So I
God.
mean, that's
That's
the biggest
awesome.
thing
Because they
is
sound like a
this
pic-
indoor
like
space is in
security
use.
picture
It's the
of
best
me with
place.
this owl,
So,
like
like,
in an
most people could
elevator,
have,
like
like,
with my coat on, like I'm
like,
absconding
3
with
or
the
4
art. But
booths,
really, he
right.
was just
So
like
it's
my
probably
spirit
like an
animal
artisan
buddy.
show. It's like it makes no sense.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Exactly.
It's just my
And
anchor.
they're like.
I'm like, no, this is
Be like,
my
okay.
friend. You
Yes.
don't understand, so.
Like, but you guys just had too much Molly at this party.
Yeah.
I didn't know what else to do.
And it's so
Yeah.
good.
I always have this always.
It's too much money, come on.
Those, cause
Yeah.
you were like the DJ.
People that were wandering around and not.
Sort of
Yeah.
peripheral party.
Mhm.
The vendors that I talked to.
Whoa.
was like,
Dude,
"Oh,
you
I
should
have
see
to
their
sell
after hours.
We would find
Sell anything.
other people. that
I
were
didn't
like-
always.
Like, I feel like there is, I feel like that kind of.
People up in the nest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
like,
dude.
we learned-
So
I-
in
I'd
Atwin
rather
Kennedy
see us, like,
in the
put our
building.
time
Is
and
this
effort,
being
I guess what
recorded?
I'm saying, into
Is this
promoting that
being
one, so
recorded?
that more people attend.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one,
That's good.
Instead of
Very
like
good.
doing.
Never
another
mind.
show.
Just
Like
stop
we said, like,
right
the
there.
vendors
After hours.
there,
Yeah.
What?
Who watches?
You know, we could sell $5.
I don't know, but I
Probably
learned
the
my
FBI.
lesson. Like, let's
At
let-
a vendor.
They're gonna be like, "Hey, arts commissioners, we're just qualified from holding an office." Because.
I'll just go ahead and.
When I met-
And
Well, they see that as a good thing. They're like, okay, that's how it should be.
We're talking about the bad old days.
But yeah, so yeah, so we moved to New York
Especially
City
when you can
after that, after the owl stealing, and then Steve
Mine
worked
feels
at
like
this
a-
place called
a
The
more
Mill,
strong
which does like the Super Bowl. They do
To me,
post-production
I mean,
on
that's
like
just
Marvel
like-
movies, and they
Yeah,
do
it's- yeah, I mean, I
the
talked
first
to
year we were
corporations
there, we
promoting
moved
the,
in
like,
July, in January, in February, we went to their
December.
Super Bowl party. And out of the 12 Super Bowl commercials, or out of the 20 Super Bowl, commercials, they had done 12 of them and stuff. And they were doing live interactive stuff,
Wow.
like.
It's another.
There were days where,
Like, so
where
if we
Steve's
can't
like,
do space
Mr.
during
Bale
the
was here,
Christmas
or
holiday.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
The
George
other
Clooney
option
just
is to pick a
walked
different weekend,
through.
Which
and
is gonna
stuff.
conflict with
But,
that,
um,
competing with that.
They closed down, they paid for us to move there, they paid all our moving costs, shipped all our stuff. stuff.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it put us up, we had corporate housing and
we-
we were in Wall Street for like
It's
2
like
months.
the most expensive place to move to.
Yeah, and then,
yeah.
they dismantled his
be there.
apartment.
And we can be.
And
That
so
makes- yeah,
after
yeah,
2
yeah,
months,
making- yeah,
3 months of
we're
living
just
there,
selling something.
but they had to pay him
That
out.
makes a lot
He has
more
a-
Oh, cool.
he
Okay.
had a contract.
Yeah,
I
Because
mean,
it was for them
That's good
basically,
then.
I
because
think
they were
that's a
like,
great
after all this
I
cost,
just,
if you quit
I
within a
think when
year,
they say
you
what
owe us
artisan
30
fair,
grand
they're thinking of
for
that
all
event,
these
and it
moving
was really
costs.
cool.
Yeah.
But it goes the other
But
way
it's
too.
moving the
Two-way
Christmas
street.
tree.
Yeah, and
it's like-
so, but
it-
all of
I
his
just don't see how it can work.
coworkers,
Yeah.
they all started their own companies or went freelance, went to, you know, massive
I'm
companies and
not
stuff like
a
that. I mean, they're all
secretary,
like
I'm gonna just,
just
wow.
actually,
Yeah.
2 months ago, one of them started a company and he is in Samsung in
That sounds
India.
great.
And Steve just did a
That
massive
sounds totally great.
interactive installation in India for Samsung's unveiling of their new flip phone. So they're all doing great. And then Wyden contacted Steve and was like, hey, you know, we hear you're free. We'd love to have you come in for an interview. And Steve was like playing hard to get, like, well, we just moved to New York, you know, you're gonna have to pay for us to move back. It's gonna be a pretty sweet deal, but really we were like desperate to come back. We were living in
Yeah.
Brooklyn in like this big of a apartment, you know?
Love
But, so, yeah, so, he came, we were there for a year, and then that last like 3 months we were there. He was talking with Wyden about coming back and finalizing stuff. They would fly us in for interviews and fly us back out, and it was kind of cool. It was nice.
Yeah, that's like almost not hard to imagine that it's a Portland brand.
Oh, dude, when we bought our house,
I'm
so
gonna
we.
timekeeper us in like
Oh,
2 minutes. Is that
Okay, yep. We were living in corporate housing in the Pearl and we were looking for a house to buy. And our closing and everything was everything takes so much longer. So our corporate housing was up and someone was like, well, I'll be in South Africa for what's the big football, the big soccer, but football.
FIFA?
The world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And they're like, well, we're, you know, Wyden's doing massive thing for Nike and Coke at the World Cup in South Africa. So you can stay in our house. We need a house sitter anyway. You can stay in our house until your house opens up. Everything is
Like a $5
in North Portland, like one of the old school,
Irvington.
yeah, overlooking
So it'd be like a
like.
little
The hills up there,
mean,
or the,
yeah.
It was insane.
I love that area.
It was insane. Like the dude had like first.
We would be
Okay,
doing a little
there's
bit
a
of
super
fundraising there
famous
and then helping with
artist,
music. And then we're
Nikki
sort of
something,
jumping on
she does
without having to
etchings,
take on too much.
cuts,
The wood
paper
cuts.
cuts, and wood cuts.
Uh,
His, their like 8-year-old had
like
a
a
signed
simple,
first edition of one of her like storybooks.
I mean,
And like, it was like to Jimmy, you're a great kid or whatever. Nikki McClure.
Like
Yeah.
split on a ribbon.
They all, like all their
I love
furniture
it.
was
I
like,
love it.
it's
Yeah.
like their chairs
We could get
were
kids
like,
or make a whole
you
bunch
know,
of things. Yeah, I would love that.
$3,000.
I mean, that used to be my Etsy business, is I made binding kits, so it had the little
you know,
instructions,
it was
and you had to like.
wild.
and
We
you
were
got
like,
red
we
and,
were
like, the
like,
little,
just
like,
like,
green
just
cubes
don't
or
touch
whatever.
anything.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like a library too. We could do some.
They
things.
spray
I would love to.
like,
I'd love to
like,
press
all of
it.
it.
Stuff make me really
Yeah.
happy.
Sort of fantasize about.
It's like.
Alright,
this
I mean,
in with the little,
it's
like,
fun, but
I don't
also
have
it's
a
like.
hammer. Time
where's the hammer?
Very official.
Oh, I'm gonna get.
Bang the
I
hammer.
need that mallet.
Hey.
I've got orange out within my fingers.
Sorry, this is very official.
Yeah.
It made a good noise.
Yeah, it did.
It's good acoustics.
Last thought about the calendar, Gina and I were just talking about the Christmas tree lighting. And we can talk about it with the DEC, but she was saying how the Winter Artisan Fair, because that's also down here on our agenda. That the Winter Artisan Fair used to be in here when the Christmas tree lighting was way over by Harvest.
Yeah.
And how the Christmas tree lighting, they used this space for like Santa and Coco. So talking to them about how maybe we can help with the music piece of it. And how maybe we can put up a couple tables in here and we do like a free kids craft. And then maybe a promotional, like sell like $5, like a little craft kit, like a holiday craft kit, like a take and make thing to people. So we would be doing a little bit of crafts that would be free, a little bit of fundraising, helping with the music and just being a presence in the room without having it be like a whole additional vendor fair that we're doing. Cause that seems like it steps on toes of like a lot of other vendor fairs that are happening. So instead of doing our own vendor fair, because that's a huge amount of work to
And
pull
is
off.
there one that also happens?
promoting
at
somebody
the
else.
High school?
Yeah, that's what we were
There
talking
is.
about too. It's like,
Oh, that, okay.
And
I,
we could try having a presence there. I went to that fair this year and I talked to a ton of vendors. There are a couple people I saw who were vendors at ours too. So I was just saying like, hi, glad to see you here. And they were saying that it was not a very fruitful fair for them.
So,
Like, not that many people came and not that many people bought things. So, I mean, there's a ton of vendors. I just think if we do a vendor fair, it's a lot of work to do a
People are
vendor
just there
fair.
kicking tires though.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
you lose.
yeah, I
I
mean,
can
it's
see
just,
that.
it wasn't a huge amount of buying.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was promoted super well, like nobody I knew even really knew about
Well,
it.
because they haven't had it for 3 years, right?
it's been a minute, yeah. I mean, I'd like to see us help with publicity for
Promoting it.
that one.
Yeah.
Because they already have vendors that are committed to showing up. She's been organizing it forever and a day, and it's a big event, even if they don't have a lot of people come through it.
And
So it'd be
she
nice to see
actually-
more foot traffic.
And she actually helped me spread the word for vendors on their Facebook page last year too.
Okay.
So I think it's Tyra who runs it. She's super nice and she's all about co-promoting. So I think we just keep that door open
Mhm.
so that she will help us promote vendors and then like maybe in the time comes, we can at the very least help promote it. But yeah, so it's kind of not doing, I think we're scratching the artisan fair or winter sale and just trying to be a presence at the tree lighting
Mhm.
and then doing the crafty thing on the weekend. So I crossed that off the agenda. Spoken. Um. So Arts at the Creek, we already talked about this subcommittee. I'm just looking at the time and thinking about things that we need to talk about as a group that would be really helpful. Were you gonna say something?
Yes, I was gonna say, because I pulled up our planning sheet,
Mm,
and I think everybody has access to home base, right?
Yeah, not everyone knows how to get there.
I don't
but
know what
Alright,
that
Everyone
is.
theoretically has
What's-
access.
We will, maybe
I'll make
Jesse
sure.
can show you on the computer after. So she's created
Okay.
this awesome Google Drive and it's got everything in it. So we're
I do have
creating
that.
super awesome stuff there. But the planning worksheet has different categories, which are fundraising, community resources, arts and crafts vendors, volunteers,
And there's three
musicians, and food. So even if there's a subcommittee of like 3 people, that's
Mhm.
still an awful lot for 3 people to do. So maybe breaking that down some more and assigning.
And like Jesse, do you want me to start corresponding with or should I say the correspondence that I've already started? Do you want me to add that to the Google Drive and
You
do
can
it?
just let me know and I can add it for you
Okay,
if that's helpful.
Maybe.
We also got an email back from Tyco. Tyco is available in like $500.
Yeah, and
Like, yes,
we can-
please, that would be
Casimir
amazing.
is like 98% booked. They have like a couple more, they said that they're open. They're reaching out and making sure that the entire group is available now, and it's $500, $100 a head. That's for a 2-hour time slot, so I think that what we do now is we push this a little further and we say that, each group gets 100 minutes or 120 minutes, and then we do 3 acts maybe. Brianna also,
Can we talk about the time first before
is
we
for
dive
Arts
into
and the
music? Cause that's gonna matter.
Yeah.
So the time didn't work great last year. And I did a feedback form I sent out. I got like a dozen responses, lots of great tips and ideas from vendors. And sort of pulled like what people thought might be good timing wise. Everyone basically thought earlier except one person, about half said 10 to 4 and about half said 12 to 6. I don't know how we all feel about it. I think that if we do like a 12 to 6, then you have the potential to have like a lunch crowd and a dinner crowd.
yes.
And I think that we were really popping between like 4 and 6
mhm.
last year. So I'm wondering if 12 to 6 is a good
I
time.
think that's the move.
Because that gives enough time for people to set up. And I think we're gonna stagger setup a little differently this year, so we make sure that we have, like, say if it's 12 to 6, then we need to have all of the vendors in and set up by 10. I mean, they need to be able to, because of the nature of the venue, that part of the problem was logistics with people unloading. And so we need to be able to say, like, between 9 and 10, that's vendor hour.
Yep.
And we need to get all of them in, and then the food carts can come and be in the parking lot.
Yep.
So we just need to, that was logistics were a little messy, because, I mean, we didn't know. It was the first time we've done an event like that, and especially in that area. So we need to, we'll stagger it really specifically and make sure we have like more signage and more volunteers being like, it's one way through the parking lot. You can park here, you can unload, and have more people helping unload. So if we do 12 to 6, now go with your music textbooks.
Yeah, no, and then I think what we do is we do noon to
Like
1:30 or 1:40, and we give ourselves 20 minutes for the turnover. And then what we're doing is the artists are quoting us for their 2-hour time slot, and then we're only requiring, we're
An hour and a half or so.
right, you know what I mean? And then they're like, oh, we're getting paid 500 for only an hour and 40 minutes rather than 2 hours.
So like 12 to 1:30, 2 to 3:30.
Yeah, I
and
don't
like
think
4 to
we
6.
need a half hour, especially if, how big, okay, let's double back to Tycho.
Tycho?
I don't
There-
know how large that group is.
But the event that you're planning a couple weeks beforehand at the library is just the 2 members?
Is the duo,
Okay.
that's Taiko Hachi. That's
Okay.
a different group, yeah.
Oh, that's a different group.
It's a totally different group.
Similar.
So,
So
we're gonna, it's a summer. of
do we
Taiko.
want Tycho first
Oh, in the day?
in the because we're gonna, that'll make like about 3 acts, right?
Mhm.
Casimir should be last, probably.
That's what I told, they said that it would like mid-afternoon would be
Mhm.
best, for them, like,
So like, would
two-
they be able to do the 4 to 6? Or are you
maybe.
thinking like
I
3
mean,
to 5?
we could,
3 to-
or, well, and then here's the other thing, it's like, I'm trying to sort of, figure out the chemistry of the event, like, I don't think necessarily that a solo act slow start is the move.
Yeah,
I think
especially if it's
that,
like
like-
lunch hour.
Right, I think that like getting there and having some boogie going so that people are like engaged and interested, and trying to prolong that as much as possible, and maybe.
What's the third band? Tycho's one.
Well, also
The
Brianna,
drummers,
I think is
right?
gonna be on
Higher
tour.
paced, higher
Probably
paced
gonna
first.
be less than an hour performance. They don't usually do.
Oh, really? In your email, in their email response,
Did
they,
they, I don't know, I don't have that.
oh,
access to that right now.
your event sounds great. The cost will be $495, including travel. Do you think this fits your budget? I'm gonna assume that's for a 2-hour slot. Cause that'd be hella money if, but maybe if there's
That's-
6
that's
of
what
them or
we
something.
Usually pay for library performances.
It's a
Okay.
pretty
Yeah.
intensive performance. They'd be pretty worn
I
out.
was gonna say,
I-
can you
It's like
drive
a
that
full body
2 hours?
workout.
Yeah.
I was
dancing and
expecting an
stuff.
hour
Okay.
for that price.
So
Well,
we need to
maybe-
confirm that.
So
Yeah.
maybe that does change the chemistry a little bit, and then, I mean, cause I'm also trying to figure out like what Estacada wants to hear. Because real talk, as much as I wanna like be involved and play as a musician, I don't think that I'm doing that this year, especially if there's gonna be, we're doing the engineering again and there's other stuff to.
Yeah, you'll have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
But I'd like to bring in something that's like Estacada loves, which I don't know if that's bluegrass.
I mean,
or-
boogie
I
woogie,
mean, boogie-
like,
Is Rob
Reggae.
There's like,
hiring Ray
uh,
Gordon?
that's a good idea, and I
Gordon's
did an event for her
Awesome. I would
at
love-
Olga's last year. I know Ray, we hit it off famously. She's a riot. And I engineered her at Olga's thing, and it's super straightforward, and her guitar player, I've played in a band with, so I like, it would like gelled, and she rips. So, and I think that we could probably get her, that's a,
RAE?
yeah, RAE Gordon. She's running for county commissioner too now.
Okay.
I'll reach out to her and
Yeah.
ask, because
I
that rock and roll
She
blues
is-
shit.
people
is in
love
the
her.
pocket.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
this area.
another thing that where I swear I've seen it go off at old summer. What's the name of our stupid thing we used to do? I can't remember the name of it now. Thank you. I almost called it Summerfest. Was oldies. Like the
Right.
oldies covers
You know, I mean,
Well, and we engineered a band in Woodburn that was like a 4-piece rock and roll band.
Yeah.
And they were super loud, but they were really, really good. And people were like digging it.
Yeah.
You know, and they're doing mostly rock and roll covers from the 70s and 80s.
yeah, exactly.
So let's hang our hat on
But regular.
Casimir and Tycho. And then we'll bring in another band for the 2-hour slot. And then I think if we're operating between the hours of 12 to 6, then that gives us enough leeway where the drumming is an hour, probably to set it off. And just energy wise, you know what I mean? And then we do some sort of groove. I mean,
Higher pace.
yeah, Casimir, they're like,
Look at all the kids. The kids,
Well,
they have like a cult following.
Oh my God,
it's
I
was on their Facebook page and I was like thinking, you know, how it totally reminds me of like youth group kind of vibes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But Eli was like looking over, she's like, that's my choir teacher. you
Yeah.
know? And I was like,
Well, that's what I'm
yes,
thinking about. That might
Oh,
be
yeah.
a good one, like.
Henry
that's
thinks
around,
he's
the
like
dinner
freaking
time,
a
around the
Rolling Stone.
Thanksgiving time. Yeah. Because that's, if we know, I mean,
well, and then Ray, and then let's just say that the kid oriented hours, I'm gonna call noon to 4,
Yeah,
and then
I
people
mean, we're
that
doing
have
12 to
get
6,
rolling.
it's kind of all kid hours.
well, but I mean,
when we're
you
back
know,
in that.
there is the whole like, if you have a 3-year-old, you're probably taking an afternoon nap.
Yeah.
And then the old timers show up with their lawn chairs to see Ray at 4 to 6.
More mellow.
And
Yeah.
it's a little bit more of like
Eat dinner and
Right.
chill.
that feels right to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
Yeah.
because
yeah,
Ellen brought out a big crowd for that last show of the summer for Parks and Rec
yeah,
last year. And that's the crowd that's gonna come see Ray too,
yeah.
are the
Cool.
people that love the rhythm and blues. And maybe what we do is because I have a pretty good rapport with both of those women. Maybe what we can do is have Ellen come and sit in with Ray. And
Ooh.
Celebrity.
Yeah.
Hey, I was gonna say, that's gonna be that's a dream team for.
they,
So we have-
they really
Are
like
you
each other
never-
too.
They're gonna be like, are you
Like-
kidding me?
Do you want me to respond to Tycho or are you set doing
Um,
that?
I mean, do you know them?
No,
Okay,
not
so
personally.
if that's an anonymous contact, I can follow up on that. I was just
say,
like,
yes, please, noon would be great.
yeah. Now the other thing too
And maybe
is,
ask about the link.
looking at the budget stuff. What do you think the potential of pushing the budget up a little bit is for this event? Like another $500 to just make sure we have. Do you think that we're gonna be able to achieve that? Also, I had some questions, this is totally unrelated, about like the hourly wages for salaries and volunteers, like.
This is
that
not,
Alex?
the same thing that's in this is
Oh,
This is not
the
our.
budget that I submitted for the grant that we got from Clackamas County.
oh, I see.
We were only approved for 2,300
Okay, copy that.
of that 3,500. Don't worry about anything that's in the in-kind
Okay,
for
okay,
this. So we have that 2,300 that we're, that's kind of a guaranteed. We can put that. I think I had most of it set to go for Arts at the Creek.
okay.
We're gonna need other fundraising.
But also like the,
Obviously, yeah.
because like we
So
also have in
you're
there
not
like.
limited to this for your budget.
I feel like we're probably gonna be hit with 500 per group is what I'm anticipating. So that's gonna bring our engineering and artist expenses to like 2,100, which I
But
think
also
is.
remembering, like, we have in here as Estacada creates for 5 presenters at $100 each. Right now, so far, we have like Chelsea's gonna do it for free.
We can reallocate that.
Presumably Jean's gonna do it for free.
Well, Gene can't make, we
Huh?
can't make any, we can't.
Oh, we
make
can't
money.
pay you because you're
Yeah,
on the
no,
commission.
yeah, no.
So like really we have for Estacada creates, we're gonna pay like the chalk artist.
The face paint.
I know, but for the Estacada creates.
Yes,
Oh, God.
For the workshopy
We could
things,
do
like
that
we
when
don't
we
have
put
very many
marshals
paid.
together.
Carl does beautiful chalk art, Merrick Stanton does beautiful chalk art, Nolene Triska is amazing.
So I'm just saying like
So
this
we do-
number isn't super real, that $500.
But I mean, some of that's, we've gotta take 1,200 out anyways,
Mhm.
so that's probably our yard signs, quarter page ad and performers. Doesn't mean we can't spend that much, it's just not coming from these funds.
Yeah, that would be my only concern as far as like getting everybody on the books right now is making sure that we have.
Can we include money in the
think we
budget for the city for this event too? Like if we have people, we have in the past, we've asked for an amount.
Push the budget up a little. bit.
Yeah. So I mean, especially if we're like, we have these 3 events, we feel pretty good about our costs, or
And I can tell you that the DEI has $1,200 requested that was in the budget that we have touched from last year, so.
And pretty much the budget that we have presented is budget that we are like, we are keeping ourselves even.
We could ask. for
Like, we
less.
haven't asked money from the city. Like, other than like
Yeah.
admin expenses.
And we don't, I don't think we've ever used our full admin budget
No.
anyway.
that
should
is,
be-
no, yeah. That's
Yeah.
I don't
And
know
they
how we-
also have a small grant program that they do, which I think is $2,000.
Yep.
And I'm
Mhm.
sure. I
The
think
city does?
The
Yeah.
city for community organizations, and I think that that would also be money that we could apply for and
Yeah.
access.
Yeah.
Well, let's face
So-
it, we have a good enough rapport with Alex, Elena, and like that, we could just be like, we need more money if we're gonna set this off, so.
I mean, I think we do officially have to put it in the budget, but like when I was on the commission last, I think our highest budget we asked for was like $10,000 and they approved it.
Yeah.
So, and that was partly to fund summer celebration because RAC fell through. And I think at this point, like RAC has said explicitly that they're
RAC
not
is
going to
not-
fund Clackamas County events. We usually rely on that for some of our activities. So I think it's very appropriate to say, hey, you know, we're trying to build this back up and like, we really need these funds because our main funder is.
remember that,
No rack.
like, if we're having a budget conversation here, our current balance is 3,300. That is not including the 2,300 grant.
Okay,
So our balance of cash that we just have is like 6,600.
okay,
And like a huge majority of that, we're doing Arts of the Creek. Like, so if we use 2,500 or even $3,000 to do music at that, that's a worthy expense, I think.
okay.
Because the music is like a huge part of the job.
Oh,
As
yeah.
long as I know that we have that to stand on when we're.
Yeah, I just want to like a
Yeah.
real, like reality check. We have like 6 grand.
Okay.
Just without accessing those additional
And
things.
that's also not included in our budget request that is due in April for the new fiscal year starting in June.
Mhm.
Yeah,
This
we
is for
haven't
this-
written
for
that
July.
yet. Where's the budget thing from? Can you look at the budget from Arts of the Creek last year? Cause I just wanted to see what our fundraising number was. How much did
How
we
much
have?
we earn, how much we
How much
made.
we got for fundraising? And I know part of that was from RAC, but we had 500 from Eagle Foundry,
We
500
had
from,
$2,500 from Paul Strobel, 500, 500, 500. We got 1,750 from fundraising, not including the booths, which were like an additional 250. So we raised about 2 grand for it last year.
okay,
So we have the money for the music. I
yeah.
think it's
Also,
all of
Alex
that
is
stuff.
checking to see what happened to our old
See if that
winners,
was-
to see if there's additional funds or if that's,
It's already been,
it's already.
I can pull
Okay.
that out and show you,
Okay,
but it
cool.
has already been rolled in to
Great,
what we
thanks.
have, yeah.
Okay, so to take
That's such a
where,
cute
so that's Mike's on music and onto that. Is there somebody who would be willing to go around and just ask more food carts and take that on as like, food carts, can you do that?
I can ask
Alicia?
food carts. Sure.
Christy already has it on her calendar.
I just need,
And I think we definitely reach out to Jane Chicken Lady. And last year, the people who want to make sure that we hit up, that we say like, you helped us out last year. We'd love it if you came again.
the
would
kid
be
that makes the
the ice-
pastries. Oh, no, sorry. but-
No, Jane with her chicken wings.
Yeah,
Because she was great and made a ton of money and was super happy about that and helped us out last minute. The ice cream truck, Boba Plastic.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And Boy Scouts, which was, he.
Sedgeburger or Sedge.
Sedgeburg.
Oh, sorry.
send me the
Everyone.
contact info on the email. And also, I guess I just need, let's see. I just need kind of the Arts in the Creek deets, like, I have the day, I have the time.
The time, set up an hour beforehand. if
Okay.
that works for them.
Okay,
That was plenty of time for you. Oh, Pam from Kettle Corn. She's on all the things. I just want to make sure that the people who were there last year, we ask first.
okay,
Because they sort of saved our butts when this was very last minute last year.
so,
Um,
okay, so
will
send me
send you
those in
that
an email,
information.
so I know who to ask
Is
first.
Charlotte scheduled?
I haven't I sent, she was on my email, like I sent out to save the date,
Okay.
but, I will make sure. And we want to try to pay her to be there for a couple hours this year.
Absolutely.
I will ask her what her like max time is. And we could even ask her to like pick a time frame in that time that you could come.
Mhm.
And we want to pay her to give out free face painting this year.
I was thinking that we could ask Beverly maybe to take over community resources. That was my thought, because that is the other
That's a
big,
piece.
big chunk. And I mean, I will probably do personal ask for the people that I work really closely with, but there's,
I'm happy to do outreach for
lot
that too.
more
I'm kind of taking
on that
on the
list.
promotional pieces and the vendor stuff
Mhm.
to really get that going, but I can do a lot of the community organizations.
Okay.
too, 'cause that's a
But
lot
I
of
mean-
like sending out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
How-
that's a big chunk too, that we want to focus on more this year, and I'm just not sure I
Yeah.
have bandwidth to
Yep.
do that this year.
How many food carts do you want? I mean, I don't wanna talk,
Overask.
I don't wanna ask everyone and
Over space.
everyone's like, yeah, that sounds great, and then you're like, oh, we actually don't have, we only have space for 5 or whatever, you know?
Last year we had ice cream, kettle corn, boba plastic, chicken wings, Boy Scouts.
So if the original
Me
5
and
that you want me to
Christy.
ask first, if they all say yes, how many
Christie's, yeah.
more do you want me to add?
I mean, really, if you're thinking, I'm thinking like that parking lot, that's like the offshoot parking lot next to the library, we
Mhm.
could fit like maybe 3 more.
Okay,
We'd have to swing around on the other side, because we need to remember that we can't, we
Block
should
it.
not fill that handicap
Mhm.
section there.
Yeah.
We need to keep that open.
so 8 total, okay, and 5 were
One,
last year,
I think we should offer that to them.
okay.
I also think that the Boy Scouts, because they were literally like throwing up some hot dogs, they don't necessarily need to be with the food carts, they could also be like in the gravel.
No, yeah, the,
that's a little bit
the
more
hot
movable.
dog cart was key because picky kid eaters.
Oh, they were like, they
So,
saved us with like,
it-
here's some real food, not just like popcorn and.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
all my kid
having
wants to eat is
Christie's would be
popcorn,
awesome.
all I
Christie's would
wanna
be
eat is
great.
good food. Hot
I
dogs is the
also-
perfect middle.
The parking was a logistical problem last year. I was thinking, I'm gonna really try to sweet talk the Wade Creek people who were not very
Oh, yeah.
open to my conversations last year, but I'm gonna try to build a relationship.
Wade
with
Creek
them.
Skate Park?
No, Wade Creek,
Classes.
Mark Vintage, whatever.
Oh,
Because that's
Just
not the weekend of their event.
It's not the weekend of their event, and I'm wondering if they.
Mike's
can-
Free
we can
Glasses?
Ask, like, can we ask
Or-
you to open your lot for
coming back.
additional
Oh, he's coming back,
parking,
yeah.
and it will bring them business, it's gonna bring them business anyway. They kind of. They were not receptive to my conversations last year, like they were pretty short with me and just like, nope, I don't know. And I was like, okay,
Really?
but I just wanna work together and I'm gonna try them again. I also thought there's the Galani marble
Yeah.
place next to it, and I was like, they have a huge empty lot. What if I can put a sign there that's like additional event
Overflow parking.
Overflow parking. Their
Yeah.
lot is always empty and they're not a
Yeah.
business that's open on a regular basis. It's
That's a
more
great
like
idea.
By appointments. So I wanna, and they're right there. So I was like, if
like
additional parking needs to
kitty
be,
corner.
because people were
Mhm.
bitching about the
Yeah.
parking. And I get it, cause there's parking in Estacada stuff.
you might need a
Especially for up
volunteer to
there.
sweeten it. You might need a volunteer that is willing
To
to
help with parking.
to stay over there and to make
Totally.
sure nothing happens to their business or
Mhm.
nothing, people aren't emptying their ashtrays in the lot. Make
Totally.
sure when everyone leaves, their lot is as nice as you found it,
Totally.
type of a thing.
We'll
But if you
definitely
can
need
sweeten
people
the
that-
deal, I can't imagine they would say no if you can offer.
I don't know anybody in that business. I just drive
Also-
by it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's a
Stay-
huge
yeah.
empty lot.
It would be good to offer that parking for vendors too,
Mhm.
maybe, to move their vehicles.
Oh, that's
a
after
good
they've
idea.
loaded,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they would feel much better about doing that if they knew there was gonna be a volunteer at
Mhm.
that lot, so that,
So that was just an additional thought I had, because I know parking was an issue.
And that's a good volunteer position, not for someone on committee, but for
community
someone, a
volunteer.
community volunteer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you just help with parking and make
Yeah,
sure that
we
you're
can even give
present?
them an easy app and a chair,
Mhm.
so they're not sitting in the
Older
hot
kiddos,
sun. Yeah,
teenager.
or like a retired person or something like
Yeah.
that, just wants to sit
Right.
and listen to their book on tape or
Yeah,
Can
Can
we
I
bring
do
up the
audiobook, right? I know.
big picture question about Arts at the Creek? And this is what I've just been thinking about, like feedback and events and I'm trying to get as much feedback from our events as possible by like sending out those forms and making sure people can share that with us. I have like a big picture question about Arts at the Creek. The kid vendors were a huge success. This year, I definitely think we intersperse them. So it's like adult, kid,
Boom, boom, boom.
adult,
Yeah.
kid. So they're interspersed. I also think that kids can gain knowledge from other vendors. And I think that would be really cool. They'll feel more empowered. It won't feel like a separate thing. That means we can also put adult vendors that are further away. So we really draw people all the way through.
yes.
So that was my thought about the kids, because a lot of people that responded were like, it felt like the kids were kind of an afterthought, but we're also like trying to figure out where our flat spaces. So if we say that their kids are intermixed in and then we draw them all the way through, then I think I think it's just for kids that are artists to be surrounded by adults that are artists doing that same thing would be really cool. On that note, like we need to figure out what we want to do for booth costs this year. I still feel like I kind of like to keep the entry point a little low. I also feel like we could accept a whole bunch of vendors and have people over in the skate park area, part of it as well. So we're really using the whole park. Like, I don't know if we really need, last year, I think we had like, I want to say like 18 or 19 booths, not including the youth booths. I think. So, I mean, we raised, maybe that was including that. I'd have to look at my sheet. I just, what I have on here is like a booth cost, and we need to think about like, do we put a cap on it? How many spaces do we have? I think if we intersperse the kids instead of having it be separate, that'll just be a cool vibe.
I'll throw
What's
out
our
there.
cost for kids? Are we doing kid
I
booths
think
for
kids are
free?
free.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I think,
Or at cost of, or
yeah, I think we did it for free last year, and I think free is good for kids. Because especially if they're selling their little trinkets for like $1, they're not gonna make money even if we say it's like a $20.
yeah, you don't want to put them in the red.
So we had $50 last
Yeah, they
year
are.
for
This
artists.
is $50
Hey,
for
Billy.
artists.
Welcome to the life in our.
Oh, welcome to capitalism, little Billy. Hey,
I will say about going into the skate park, I feel like if we do that, we also have to put some of the food vendors over there and maybe have like acoustic music acts as well, because otherwise it's just gonna feel
Yeah,
like
spread it.
random art booths, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, we need to get back to the party, but yeah,
Yeah.
spread it over there a bit. That's a good
So
idea.
Maybe let's plan to
You can have more
go
music there.
up
Spread it.
and kind of spread over to like Whispering Pines-ish for this year. And really think, because we had a lot of empty space kind of in between there that we could fill. So maybe like that'll be this year, we want to fill that amount of space. And then
Well, I think we could try to
next
set
year.
like we could have Charlotte, like the face painter in that one little overhang that's right there.
Oh,
So it like has a little thing.
Yeah, 'cause I
So-
Probably draw in more locals because that Wade Creek's kind of set back. Like if you have a little bit there on that front, like by the skate park, more like the actual locals that never would go on Facebook or Instagram and stuff like
There
they're
were
not.
plenty of people last year that
Yeah.
were just there because they were like, what's that?
Exactly, yeah. They have to give a little bit more to
the.
the, bring it to that front a little bit more by the skate park might help for
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, if we want that. But yeah,
So what do we think about the booth costs? Last
Was it
year
last
we
year?
did $50.
That's
okay,
reasonable.
50 straight.
and free
50.
for kids.
Free for kids,
I think
$50
that's fine.
for artists.
There's no like application fee, right? It was just like 50.
$50, and we didn't take a
I'd do
cut
that.
of any of their things, which I think because we have so much funding and the grants and stuff, if we're really like supporting them, we don't take a cut of their stuff.
Yeah.
I
Of
also
course,
think that's
of course.
complex for me to think about.
Yeah.
We did talk about how they might be able to like donate something, that we could do a silent auction.
We
Like
used to
could,
do that, yeah.
and we could offer that, that could come later. I don't think that's necessarily. I
That
mean,
had a separate, like, somebody headed that up. and organize that, because collecting the pieces from the artists, like some artists would forget or like
And Tyra
they
does
show
like
up
a,
late and
I mean, it's a whole thing, but at her homemade for the holidays thing, she gives out like bright pieces of cardstock. And then each vendor table has like picks one item, and on that cardstock, they put their auction piece. And so then you do the sweepstakes. And then if your number gets called or whatever, you go get a ticket and you get to go like through the booth and like pick out your winnings kind of thing.
that's cool.
So that's what she does. She does like you buy a ticket,
A raffle ticket.
a raffle ticket, and then if your number is called, then you get to go like shop the booth for your prize.
Oh,
Like a
that's
Dave and
cool.
Buster's. type of-
Which, yeah, kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like, but then it kind of draws people around.
Yeah.
and-
Oh, yeah, because people
It's
go,
enticing.
oh, I want to get.
And then you don't need a
C6.
separate
pick-
space
You can
for
pick what you want,
like an auction.
Yeah.
pick the prize.
I don't know how she like calls the raffle tickets, or I'm not exactly sure. But that could be something that would come later. But like we talked about
Yeah.
last year, how you could say that like this year our booth fee is 75. If you're willing to donate a piece of your art towards the auction, then it would be 50.
That seems, I like the
great.
raffle ticket a lot better than the
It's
auction,
just
because the
simpler.
problem with the auction is that when you get close to the close, people start like getting really competitive and like diving in to get $1 over people, and it got kind of maddening. Like we had 2 security people and like 1 person running the art booth, and we also had
I
people
remember that.
like the high-end artists, who are selling things for $1,000 in their booth. Like some of those pieces got really competitive, and like people tried to get in there and steal them. So
Yeah, I remember
you
the
know,
theft.
it's definitely
celebration.
like, it's definitely a
The problem.
concern to have a auction. Like it's.
I like
that's-
the idea of the way that she does
Yeah.
it. And she shared that with me and I was like,
And
that
then
seems
each
simple.
artist, they
Then
can
you
pick,
can just choose whatever they
Yeah.
want to put on
Yeah,
Takes the
there.
competition.
I would say though.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
Table that.
no,
Or-
that, if we're 75, 50 with. Donation of an art item for the raffle, that an art item of a value at least $25.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're,
so you don't-
not
yeah.
doing
Just
like a
tiny
$5
thing.
pot
Yeah.
holder or something. Yeah.
What should
I-
the perceived
I
value of the
really
art piece
like
be,
that.
or the donated piece?
Would,
It doesn't matter.
So
Doesn't matter.
selling raffle tickets.
Well, it's whatever the artist would.
Could be over
Yeah.
like
Say,
food
as
and
long as
small
it's
Would-
amounts.
25
that would
$25.
be.
Any, it does, yeah, it could be like
direct
anything. really.
fundraiser
Yeah.
for us.
$2,000
Selling raffle tickets
piece
for
of
people
sculpture.
to
Could be-
That's a good idea. I like
put
that.
in.
Yeah.
More random, kind of.
And then we could also, like, I mean, I don't know how we announce the raffle.
Do you have
or
a
if we do,
PA?
like,
You have a P-
collection at the, I don't know how that works.
Don't you have a
I think
PA
do
for the
every day
bands?
And contact
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Make
If
sure
you
you
have
put
phone
good,
number or
yeah,
something.
phone number or email so that we can contact you. If we can't get a hold of you, we do a second draw. You
Yeah.
know?
It could be like the items are chosen in the last hour of the day or something.
Yeah.
Like in the last 5 to 6.
Yeah, cause I think
Keeps people there too.
holding
Mhm.
people,
Well, you
Or
wanna
get
make
something
sure
cut
the
back,
items
yeah.
are
Yeah.
chosen so that at 6 o'clock vendors can pack up and leave.
right,
Mm-mm.
I also think if we stop it at 6, we're gonna have, cause last year we had vendors that are like, can we pack up and leave, cause there's nobody here, but I don't think we'll have that issue this year if we're ending at 6. Okay, so $75, $50 with the donation of an item, around $25 for a raffle. I love that.
I
idea.
like it.
Yeah.
It's simple, and that way we don't have to have a whole separate space for items and then deal with collecting them and. Plus
we
it makes
can
people go around and be like, ooh, I want that.
Yeah.
And we could have a craft night and decorate our raffle.
A jar?
kit.
Yeah.
Not dodging a jar.
That's cool.
Or like coffee cans with the little, I have some. I would like that very much. I will host our jar making.
Oh, I will.
And
That's a
I'll work
little
on adding
craft
that into
night.
our promotional material.
And I mean, I'd be fine selling raffle tickets. That totally.
Last year we had like the tables by
Mhm.
the building. I think that's a perfect spot where we had like water, super cheap snacks.
Mhm.
I still have like 1,500 pairs of sunglasses. So that
Nice.
can be added in as well. I mean, and the shirt thing, I don't know if we want to do that again. That was pretty fun last year. We raised like $250 or something. for
tie-dye?
Shirts.
Yeah.
I don't know. what we
I
wanna do
still
with
have
that.
all the supplies for tie dyeing, so.
We still have a lot of shirts.
It was
Mhm.
fun.
So I think we could do that again, because people would be like, oh, I'm gonna get my shirt. And it's not labeled with a year or anything, so we could continue
Mhm.
doing that. And it won't be an additional expense because we already have the shirts printed. I do think what we need to do this year, actually, we need to get identical shirts, maybe with this year's stuff. We need to get kid sizes.
Mhm. Like
Because a
actual kids.
lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
wanted to
Yeah,
buy them
yeah,
for their
yeah, yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
That was the only problem with the shirts is that they wanted kid sizes and the smalls were huge.
Yeah, I got that small for my daughter and it was like a dress. So
Yeah.
It's
So
good
we need
for,
some kid sizes
good for pajamas.
Yeah.
So would we order the exact same shirt or maybe
with updated
update
sponsors.
for kid size shirts?
New
And we would also need to, all of the larger sizes we sold out of, so.
Mhm. I'll do an inventory shirts.
I think we wrote it down somewhere, what we had. It's
Do you
in the
wanna do-
binder.
More XL.
So
The
we'll need to
graffiti
order
wall
kid
again?
sizes closer.
I-
to time.
I personally, I'm probably gonna just have my own booth for my own artwork. But I would love to have set up, but I wouldn't be able to man it really. I could go kind of like,
But we
I guess I could,
We
pop-
can put it
but-
near you,
yeah, that's a good point.
cause then you could be like,
That-
hey, interactive, and
Yeah.
then do this stuff over
I
here.
already have a bunch of
You
paint
did the
pens.
The
So
spray paint thing, right?
yeah, I did like little, like avant-garde.
That
kid-
was
The
I don't,
favorite
like in my mind, it was.
activity
it's
for-
like
Yeah, I don't
a
wanna not do
wall
that, but I just,
That was back there.
not to be selfish, but I want to have my, like,
Yeah.
probably buy a booth for myself, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If I could have like maybe my wife or something like that, or I could have like a brother or something like that, kind of volunteer on that side, somebody that I trust, so.
If we
but-
put it near you, then it will help promote your style of art also.
Yeah, exactly,
Mhm.
yeah. I just don't want kids going crazy with the spray cans on
Too close to your
Yeah,
art.
yeah, yeah.
taking them, yeah.
I
But-
kind of felt
but-
last year that was the end of the,
It was
Exhibit.
very,
so now you're thinking maybe of having music back there to draw people back?
no.
Oh, I thought you
not
said
this
you were
year.
saying
No, we were talking
acoustic.
about that.
Just
I think that the Whispering Pines, that'll be sort of the end of our booths. We're just gonna fill it in a little bit
Okay.
more there. And if we do some sort of spray paint art, it definitely needs to be somewhere away from all the artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty windy last year.
Would it be tough
Yeah.
to like
Also just have
That's
paint.
true.
It doesn't have to be spray.
put a
paint
PA
all
over
the way.
that way and like pump the music from, because like we got music playing
Maybe
live over
right-
here, pump
you
the
cannot
music
hear-
over, the same music over, you know.
You cannot hear music
Question
at all,
for my-
like when we were
over there.
doing
I know
that.
it's a design flaw of the park.
Yeah, it was like
tough.
the music, if you were on the
It was
other
too
side
loud
of
on
it, it
one
was,
side.
yeah, it was
Quiet
blasting
on
at you. And the second you walked around, it was like nothing. So if
Yeah.
you
I
could
wonder, I bet we
shell
could
out
get
for
a
another
speaker.
speaker,
That's
yeah,
right
another
about that.
speaker to, and then.
Exactly.
that's when you-
That means that the amphitheater is working exactly.
It's
as
true.
intended To
Yeah,
get
true.
sound on that side, so it's still quiet at the.
Exactly.
library.
It's true. It does work perfectly. But also,
yes, that
when you
would be
call your
awesome.
raffle, you can get on the PA and people can hear it,
Yeah,
not
Exactly.
directly in front of it.
and I do think that we talked
Spread it.
about last year, because there were such high interest in the kids' activities and like the interactive art pieces, which I think we can ask for kids, and we can also say like, can we get some other art activities that are like for older, like adults or teens? That we thought about putting them around the amphitheater side. So not putting vendors around where the music is,
Yeah.
but putting the activities, so you could be sitting at the park listening to music while your kid is over there painting rocks.
That would be cool.
So putting the
That's awesome.
community organizations
So,
over there.
I just wanna be a counterpoint for a speaker on the other side as someone who gets really overstimulated.
Yeah,
I kind of love having a quiet side of the art, event.
exactly, yeah, that's a good. point.
Because otherwise I can't handle
overwhelming.
the whole event. And I know that there's a lot of kids who are in the same boat too, where like, it's nice to have a quiet side.
And
So,
there's probably a lot of artists in their booths will probably be thinking the same thing,
We'll
because they're
be
like,
able to talk
it'd be hard to
about
communicate and tell and
Yeah.
explain your stuff,
Well,
or
it's
people that
speaker, it
digest
doesn't
your
have
stuff.
to be that loud.
That's a good
Also,
point.
there was a thing where you didn't know what, like, there were definitely acts I would be excited to see, but I didn't know that they were on. And then by the time I got around to it, I'm like, oh, it's like this music that I don't really.
but
love.
could we like
know,
have a
type of thing.
sign that explains that without having the actual music over there? Cause I like,
It doesn't have to be loud.
I mean,
I mean, like background music, like when you're in the.
I go in the sensory deprivation
Right.
of the library. It's right there
I
in
get
the
it, I
corner.
get it.
So like, that's, I mean,
Like-
Quiet zone, have a quiet zone.
Like in a grocery store, like, is that too loud? Like.
yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
go to the neurodivergent day at
Okay.
Macy's is really
Yeah,
frustrating,
actually,
so.
Got our music zone with the amphitheater on that side.
Yep, yep,
what if we just get a speaker over to
Towards the
this side right here?
The food cart side?
And then
Food cart side,
this
yeah,
way is
or-
still.
Oh, the other,
Just on the other side of the amphitheater,
Yeah.
so that it's getting that area
Yeah,
there,
so-
and then that
you'd still hear
whole
the
other
food carts.
section
So the
or-
path stays
behind
quiet.
the path is quiet zone.
Yeah.
And the speakers are facing that way.
Yeah,
or
the
kind
speakers
of
are facing
Towards the food
back
cart
That's
area.
toward the
makes sense.
amphitheater and the
Yeah.
food carts.
Yeah.
So like they're
That sounds good.
Yeah.
there, so we still have a nice quiet
We don't
area.
want to scare people that aren't used to
Old fogey music,
Burning Man or something. Yeah.
Right. cool.
Thanks.
I'm sure Mike can figure that out.
I mean, it's really, it's like, probably it's just as simple as like wiring the speakers.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just,
Somebody did
and
say
just
that they
for-
wanted like more vendors by the food carts, but that doesn't make sense to me, so I don't know if I take that feedback into consideration.
in the parking lot?
Yeah, they were like, the vendors were too, or the food carts were too far away from everybody else. I was like, yeah, but that's almost any place you have has like the food area and the
Yeah.
vendor area, that's usually separate.
I
Plus
think
food carts
most,
in the parking lot, I mean, it's, you can't really cart them in, it's, that park's kind of delicate in terms of like driving something in.
Also, now that we're
Yeah.
talking about logistics like this, are we thinking about getting a mat to lay over the gravel? So people
That's
with
part of
limited
our-
mobility can
Oh, yeah.
get,
We
can
need to talk-
access.
we need to talk more to Parks and Rec, that's part of that, because we don't wanna
Like a
alter the
runner
park,
area.
that's something they need to fix about that park. The
Yeah.
city
Right.
needs to
they
Yeah.
need to
But
bring
if
a
they-
compactor through and compact all of the paths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
if they can't though, I wonder how much I wonder if that is something you can rent. Like you were talking about, like the ones at the beach, it's literally just a mat you lay on top of the gravel. You roll it up when you're done and nothing's hurt.
Just for
You
that
know,
little area kind of.
Just
that
literally for,
yeah.
it's not very
Like
long of an
50
area.
feet or something, I guess.
Yeah.
We can look into that, and I'm definitely gonna be like,
Especially for the seniors and stuff.
taking on to make sure there are some freaking shade sales up by June.
Oh, yeah, that was
That's
the,
really
that was the
important.
other thing.
And
Yeah.
parks have,
Well,
like,
forget
they
it.
are highly invested in that too. If we don't put shade sails up, nobody's gonna listen to the music, cause it was hotter than hell and it was only like 80 degrees.
Especially
Yeah.
that west side
Yeah.
song, it
Yeah.
was like,
It was brutal.
we need a couple trees. or something.
Yeah, and we did talk, Parks and Rec came and we talked about it and they're like all about it and like.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah,
was
by
actually talking
end of, by
to,
July 27th, I would hope.
I was talking to
They would be on
Brian,
that.
Maddie's husband, the city planner, and he was like, the city needs to pay for that.
Nice.
So he
Yeah,
was the
just
one. that was
generally,
like, the
I
city pays
agree.
for all sorts of other things.
I
the city
agree.
Needs to pay for.
just
Yes.
for all summer kind of, yeah, it'd be good to have for
Well,
any,
you
oth-
can't build
any
these
other
beautiful
time.
parks.
Because the concerts in the park.
It'd
it's-
bring so
it's
many more
the
people over
same
there.
thing Where it's like. I
You
don't
can't even
wanna-
look because
yeah.
you're just like in the sun. so,
Well, then
yeah.
people really, for the concerts, people are like hauling in their canopies and all this stuff, and then it blocks the view for other people, like.
Mhm.
They're all, I think it's an investment for the community to do that.
For sure.
So I don't know who to bug about that.
More
We could
permanent.
start
more of a
having like an
permanent thing.
info booth on the quiet side of the park. Like with a sign of what's going on over there, cause that feels like the comfortable place for me to volunteer is like, hey, if we haven't, like all the way at the end of the path that's like close to Whispering Pines, like. There's an info booth there that's like, hey, you're on the back end of the, come on through.
That's a
Like,
good idea.
And I would love
More
to
ven-
volunteer on
More
that side,
vendors this
like.
way.
yeah,
Type
I
of a
mean,
Have
thing.
an agent kind of.
I can
on that
totally be like, come through, do that thing that's loud over there, it's
Well,
great.
Signage is definitely
Yeah.
something we need to up, because
Welcoming,
like bathroom
welcoming.
signage was a feedback thing.
Mhm.
More signage about the bathroom, more like what's going on. I mean, I also think, and this is somewhere in my notes about bringing up like, are you guys okay if we need to buy a couple of sandwich boards for ourselves, like some official, they're like $130 each, I think we need 2. And then I think when we have them, like you can have that in the path coming in, like the music, what do you call it?
The
The
lineup.
lineup.
The lineup,
Thank you.
yeah.
Like, so we have a poster that says,
Mhm.
this is the lineup of activities,
Mhm.
face painting from 4 to 6 in this area, like, we need to have that information.
Yeah, we need
And
a
then we
acreage
need to-
sign, cause remember even at the tree or at our December event, you brought your whiteboard and we
And
like
it's
flipped.
I went to Saturday market every weekend, all summer long, with Deborah's thing, and trying to like weigh it down with bricks.
Yeah.
And the farmer's market people were so lovely, and they were like constantly putting my sign
Mhm.
back up.
Yeah, So-
It was such a production, guys.
if we were
So-
we're doing 4 full-on events guaranteed every single year, right?
And then we
Yeah.
can have
We
it so
need
that like
acreage
something we
sign.
put
There's no,
out
it's silly that we would.
on the road when we have events.
And you clip the
I'm thinking
poster
like
to it.
2 of those big tall white ones. Are we down with just asking the city to buy those for us?
Yeah.
I'm like, we need them and my.
If it's a permanent need, kind of, more of a permanent.
Yeah,
need.
like we'll use it
Yeah.
all the time.
You're
and
talking
it's
about like
something-
the
long-term.
A-board, it's like wood like this, and then you
And
get
there are the
clip.
white ones that you can put like sand in.
Yeah,
And I think we buy them and then we have them. And then we can also, like at the committee summit, be like, of the things that the Arts Commission has. We have canopies, we have sandwich boards, so they can be used by other.
Rather than asking for the city to buy them, which may have some roadblocks.
No, I mean, with our money.
Why don't
Oh,
we
oh,
just-
oh, I was
No,
gonna say,
because
like,
we have
if
to
we
start
approve the
asking.
admin budget right now, I would say, let's buy it this spring and use the admin budget and just like have them.
I mean, they, just because it's a big expense, I have to ask them to buy it
Uh-huh.
instead of me buying it and being reimbursed. I just mean asking them to buy it with. our
Okay,
funds.
okay. But if we do it before the end of before the end of June, it comes out of this year's fund. So if we have money in the admin budget, like, I'd say do it for now.
Yeah, we can use it for our,
Fourth of
Does that count
July.
as an admin budget for?
well, maybe not Fourth of July.
I mean,
We can do
Yeah.
it for chalk art. on
does it?
13.
I don't know.
We can put it out at Timber
I think
Fest
it
next
does.
to our.
That'd be easy, yeah.
Legit, it's like
That'd
an
be sweet.
ongoing
Okay.
expense of us doing
Yeah.
business as a commission, something that we need.
And it
It's
will be
not,
something that will support other commissions, like we're
Yeah.
happy to lend that out to other commissions. who
Yeah,
need
I
it.
mean, I would say it's very solidly a publicity cost, which I would put in the admin budget. Like, it's right up there with printing and publishing and like, let's get some signboards so people know what we're doing.
Exposure.
So I will ask them, they're about $130 each.
That is, yeah, if we have like
And-
$2,000 in there, then.
The other. It's a small funding cost, but I would love for them to buy a food safe storage tub for me for the Estacada Creates snacks that I've been toting around. I'm also wondering if I should maybe like. Do a clearing of all the food that we have that I've had for like a year and I really feel like we need to get rid of it and start over.
let me send you a product thing. Roxanne bought these awesome big totes that have a built-in carrying thing, and they're like, I used to see like the square ones. These are even bigger. They're wonderful, would be perfect
That'd be great.
just for all of the other supplies. I don't know if they're food safe, but
I
a
feel
food
like
safe
some
could
of
go on
these
top of it.
food costs
Yeah,
that we've
On the top on it.
accumulated for people that have been buying things for the Estacada Creates. And then we bought snacks for last year's Arts at the Creek, like I still have all of that food at my house. I feel like we need to start fresh. So I'm wondering if I can like, maybe just like put it on the dollar auction or like sell it in some way where I could get maybe $20 for like this huge amount of food and maybe we could start over.
Or can we donate it to the food bank or something?
Donate it.
that's
We just,
like-
I have become a de facto storage for our commission and I'm worried about mice and all this food I have in my house.
Yeah.
And it's kind of stale / it's been in my hot basement. Who knows how many of those snacks are melted and reformed inside their package. I just sort of started opening tubs and I was like, oh my God, I have like 30 Takis things and and they're kind of expenses we've written off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would donate them.
Can we, maybe, should I just donate them to?
There
the
you go.
food
Donate
bank?
it, we'll sell it to
Yeah.
the food bank. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and then for Paiku,
That's
I'll
awesome.
get like a small number of new snacks.
Okay, and for, yeah, Paiku, we need,
Pie.
plates. Well, are we eating pies or are we just giving pie away? That's something we need to probably discuss. Should we do it now? So
Sure, I'm gonna pee while you.
you're going to basically set up a haiku workshop,
Yep.
right? Or lead
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then we will do a pie walk, like a cakewalk type of a thing at some point. I was thinking. And so I'm gonna try, I was actually gonna do that when I leave here today. Gonna go to Harvest Market and just see how many pies they'd be willing to donate. And if they're not willing to donate, then I'll do concentric circles further and further out of Estacada at other grocery stores or bakeries or what have you. But are we going to be at the end of haiku eating pie and saying our haikus? I don't know how those workshops work.
I think if we're advertising pie coup, people will expect to get pies in some way.
Okay, yeah, so that's why I was thinking with the pie walk maybe could be like we start off with the haiku writing. And then
This is
do,
another Thursday evening
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
People
the
will
14th.
Come in and be there for that time.
Yeah, and then we could do the pie walk
Hmm.
would be after writing.
Yeah, I think we do.
And
writing workshop,
then-
And then we can.
And we're giving some pies
Yeah.
away, and then we have some pies on reserve where we're all gonna sit and eat pie, and people that want to
can-
read their haikus that
that sounds
they've
good.
made in the evening can read them.
That's.
So how many pies do we think we don't know, because
get
we
a
haven't,
dozen People at those, a good one.
I mean, something like that. I mean, all the ones I've gone to have been somewhere between 10 and 15 people. I would say like 20 slices of pie on the high end.
Well, I'll eat
Pie.
any leftovers.
out of every pie, there's
Yeah.
about eight.
I'll take
That's
whatever's
one of my
left.
specialties.
There's about 8 slices of pie and a pie. So
Like
if I
4
have like
pies.
3 pies, 4 pies,
3 pies is probably adequate, and then 4 if you want to give one away for the pie.
I
walk.
was saying 3 for, like 3
3
to
to serve,
serve, thank you.
1 extra.
And then I would
just in
I would
case.
probably do 5 for the walk. And so we're sending 5 people out with whole pies.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of gosh, you know, what would be fun is, you know, how a cakewalk is usually, at least I think of it as like, it's almost set to music, like musical chairs, the music stops and do we want to do a haiku walk?
So when
where-
you get to the end of the haiku, that
Yeah.
whoever's on the square gets a pie. I
Yes.
love that.
So,
Very short walks.
well, it would be you probably, if you want to come up with what, if we do 5 pies, that's 5 walks, you got 5.
You have 5
haikus.
total.
So easy.
Yeah,
Or
okay,
how about you move on a syllable?
Yeah, we could do 5 syllables.
That-
do
that's
steps.
my idea.
The mathematicians
Yeah,
among you will
I
get the
think
pie.
so.
I was gonna say, Steve comes home with 5 pies, I'm like, this isn't helpful, honey.
Maybe they
Bring
can
them
step
out.
out of the circle. When you win a pie, you get to go outside of the group.
But I will, so I need to ask for 8 pies at least, so, I'll do that today and get that short up. And then you get your, how you wanna run your thing, and so we're saying 7 to 9, so an hour of,
About an hour.
An hour
and then we
of a
can play.
lesson, and then the last hour is playing, okay.
That sounds
I'm
funny.
trying to remember the space there. Do they have a whiteboard of any kind in there? Or-
No,
Wait a little bit.
Okay. so just-
I have like my tall easel whiteboard.
Yeah, we used that for the NaNoWriMo
It still
workshop. That
has
worked really
pants
well.
on it.
Oh, it has pants on it? Oh, yeah.
Your
Oh,
pants.
cause you're a planner or a pantser. Yeah, I did draw pants on it. Yeah.
Oh, it's still on there.
Nice.
So I have like a tall, you know, it's like this, like an easel, whiteboard easel.
does the library have anything?
You can't, I mean, that's the whole thing. I'm trying not to overlap with the library.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
They're
Um,
building a Chinese wall.
what?
I mean, there's a separation of.
Oh,
library
gotcha,
and
okay.
us Right now.
Okay, well, the whiteboard would be great, could you,
I can bring. the
does it
easel.
fit in a, or easel, does it fit, I don't know.
It's a good size. It's like.
It's like a
big.
teacher easel, so
Yeah.
it stands
Mhm.
like this tall and it's like this.
Yeah, it was really easy to set up.
I can swing by on the way and pick it up from you and then swing by on the way out and drop it off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to.
Or you
know,
can
drop
pick
off.
it up and then drop it off?
That would be handy sometimes just.
Do you have markers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so
There's no
that's,
wall between me and school. I have all.
that's
options
another
I
thing,
need.
that's another thing, like what are the supplies we need? That would be more towards you. I know, I got pie supplies, I'll figure that out and just has to be reimbursed or whatever.
There's so few people. I'd like to give them online paper. It's
Okay.
good for.
Online?
Online, yeah.
A-
And I've got.
A
stuff
ream
that-
of printer paper.
But I don't need a ream. I mean, we have-
Okay.
if we have a dozen people, we'll need 20 sheets or something.
Okay.
I'll just bring that.
And you
Yeah, if I
got
show up, I've got
pens.
things. that all
I've
in
got
my
lots of
bar
pens.
right
and-
now.
Okay.
Like,
I'll bring the writing supplies, but it'd be handy to have a whiteboard, just sometimes to put something up to look
Sure.
at. I don't know how much I'll have to say about syllables or not. It'd be handy to have some shared demonstration.
And
I
we'll
might
do
even just
the-
make some
we'll
handouts.
do the registration form, just so we have an idea, like, if and how many people are signing up.
Yes.
For the flyer, what information do you want on the flyer? Cause I will just draft a thing to Maddie right now.
Poems and pies.
I would do, let's see, well, obviously, time, date, place, haiku.
Haiku, like writing and pie walk.
I would say, yeah, short poems, including haiku.
Short poems, including haiku writing workshop, followed by,
Short poem workshop,
Yeah.
followed by
pie walk
pie walk and giveaway.
and giveaway, yeah, that works. And then, like, because we had talked about this,
I'm just gonna think that there's a.
Are
pie.
we- are we printing flyers for this, for me to give out, or are we just doing this online? Doesn't matter to me, I just need to know, because I want them.
I'm a
you know.
receiver of tasks right now, you tell me.
What do you think? Do you think we should print flyers and put them up, or we should make an event? and
I
promote
think
it
we,
online?
if
Both.
we
Would definitely make an event.
I
Do
think making
Yeah.
we also want to put up some flyers? Up to you.
I think you should put them up at least at the library, bulletin boards and Yo Treats.
Okay,
I mean,
Well,
we could
Harvest
put
Market.
like six,
Harvest,
like
yeah.
Harvest Market,
Yeah.
and then there's, Ace has a good like window of flyers.
oh, I could do all of
Yeah.
downtown, I was just,
But I mean,
um,
if you just hit those couple places that we know lots
Yeah.
of people frequent.
I like to put them in the storefronts
Mhm.
on Broadway, where, because people are just,
I mean, that's our
Parking
admin
and
cost.
walking.
It doesn't cost a ton for us to do that. so we
Okay,
print
can
up
you-
Flyers.
can
I
you
just-
get
I'm gonna-
me-
I'm putting the flyer ask out right now.
get me 25
25.
flyers,
Okay.
yeah. And then,
Yeah, Broadway would be good.
yeah, Broadway and Main.
The
On
wa-
the library.
the local
side
And the
walking through.
as
library.
well, that one,
Oh, on the reader board?
on the reader board.
Ooh, yes, please, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
we need to make sure when I ask Alex, somebody that came that was like on the event, it just said like Wade Creek Community Room, which doesn't show up on the map. So I think we need to put like more location specific, like Wade
Library,
Creek Park Community Room behind the library.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That works.
Behind
Or
the
to
library.
the right of the
North of the library.
or to the right.
No
I don't
one's
know.
gonna, I'm not gonna know which direction.
I only know what direction if I have my compass on my
Yeah,
phone or if I'm in my car, so.
Putting a poster.
Or
To the
how about
right.
it's next to the library.
Next.
yeah,
Yeah,
next
next
to
to-
the library is
Next
great.
to it.
Why do I not?
They'll get there either way then.
Sorry, March 14th, so we have just about a month, which would be great. Do you think I can pick them up Monday?
I don't know. I'd
Oh, wait, no,
have-
you're putting it in
I'm
right
probably
now.
gonna ask for her to make them. because
Okay.
We didn't really know what to put on the flyer yet,
Okay,
but I can ask her. The turnaround should be quick if she's around. I'll
Okay.
text her to make sure she has the.
great.
You might want to just do like writing workshop, short poems like haiku. And then we got room for lots of variety.
I wonder how many of the new people in Estacada know that Wade Creek Park is on both sides of the library. Because, I mean, it took me a long
Well,
time to
working
figure
it-
out,
People don't use that piece of it. So I
yeah,
think
They
we
feel like-
are probably essential in spreading that word because
Okay.
most of our events will be there from here on out, really.
yeah. Cool.
Cause a lot of people don't, or a lot of people that I know that like came to Arts at the Creek. Like they didn't even know that expansion was happening. And there we're talking people that have been in town for like 20 years, like just don't drive.
Like
that
when you say,
direction or
when you
whatever.
say Wade Creek Park next to the library, I would immediately go to the skate park. Like without even thinking, not knowing. that that's
Behind the
community.
library? Behind is better wording for sure. I think that's specific enough.
I even know where it is and I would, I think.
So what if I
think
say-
of it.
This is info that she'll put on a thing. Pie Pie Day celebration.
Yes.
Short poem workshop followed by a pie walk and pie giveaway.
Yes, that sounds perfect.
It's clear.
So you get pie for people that get that will be the people that want to show up.
Mhm, mhm.
Or I could just say haiku workshop, but I feel like short
No.
poem workshop is
Haiku.
I like,
Yeah,
haiku.
You
and
need
then-
the, you gotta
yeah.
have the haiku in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
title.
okay.
yeah.
And then as soon as
That's
those are
just
ready
so
to get
fun.
picked up, I can send me email and I can come to pick them up here at City Hall. Is that what we do, how we do it?
is there a label for that parking lot area? Because the sort of overflow parking by the library. I've seen things about park and ride there.
That's in this, yeah, you don't have to worry about that at all.
No, but I'm just thinking of a way to
In terms
label the
Other-
area for people to go. If that's if that would be helpful, because that sign is,
Like.
I'm
the-
new to the community and that sign is.
The park and ride.
We can also like, we will have our sandwich board.
Hmm.
We can have that on the thing that's like pie coop this way,
Yep.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
All right.
I think that's, I mean, even if it's something I write on a piece of paper and put on a sandwich board,
Yeah,
it will be like an arrow that's like, hey, it's right here for people the day of. We didn't have like availability of signs to do that before.
Mhm.
And when I went by there with the park and ride sign, I thought they were extending the train lines, the light rail
the
out this
max,
area.
oh.
Boy, that's gonna be great. And then,
Yeah.
no.
When I first moved here, I didn't have a
Well,
driver's
probably
license until I was
yeah.
42. And I spent 2 years taking the bus to the max to, oh, you're like blocking out. It would be a 4-hour round
It takes
trip.
forever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
3.5, 4-hour round trip. Ugh.
Well, during rush hour, it's still not.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I had to stop riding the bus because I could drive to work in 50 minutes and it would take me like 2 hours and 15 to go.
You know what,
I'm at.
when Steve was at Wyden, he would drive to Milwaukee and then ride his bike the rest of the way.
Mhm.
It's probably quicker.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. He would get,
Zoom
he
through.
kept getting to work late, cause it was like, there's always like a bridge you can't go over or whatever, and he's just stuck, on the ground or
traffic.
whatever,
Yeah.
in traffic, trying to get to work. And so he's like, I just park in, I take 999 to Milwaukee, park downtown. I think there's probably a park and ride down there.
When I
And
first moved here,
ride
there
my
was an
bike.
express bus that went straight from here into downtown and it was great.
Oh, what?
But then they got rid of it
They must have
like
canceled it, yeah.
3 months after we bought our house. They eliminated that bus line. I was like, oh,
Cause yeah.
that's why we moved out here.
I don't
was
think
because
we
could.
ever had an express bus when I was taking the bus,
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's.
It was short lived.
Do we want to say anything on our posters and advertising about children and adolescents welcome?
Everyone welcome, all ages
Yeah,
welcome.
all ages welcome.
I would say all ages welcome, but age under whatever age must be accompanied by an adult.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if we want to say
Oh.
12 and under needs to be accompanied by an adult, but
Well, I mean, it's 18 and under,
It's
really.
a-
We can't
yeah.
have, we can't have unaccompanied
Legally.
youth, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I don't
Mhm.
see a lot of
What
10-year-olds
what about-
walking over. Or you think grown up?
I think
people are
middle
gonna drop their
schoolers,
kids off?
I think
Oh.
middle schoolers, that would be a concern, especially with
Oh, yeah.
Pi.
We can handle a room full of middle schoolers. I can kick them out. I feel no compunction with that.
Well, I mean, we're still gonna do a registration form.
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah, I'm just saying
So-
on the registration form saying like. So that people don't have the expectation, like I'm signing up my kid, but I'm not gonna stay, and then you end up with a room full of middle schoolers. is
Right.
what
There
I'm-
you go.
How about on the, maybe not on the flyer, but on the form, I'll say all ages welcome. Youth ages 12 and under need to be accompanied by an adult.
Okay, yeah.
Cause that can be
That's-
like too much information on a flyer.
Yeah,
but when
yeah,
they
yeah,
do
yeah,
the
yeah.
Form. Yeah. That
And
sounds
they'll
good.
have some backups for younger people.
And again, promote. Our writing workshops have had really dismal show up, so we need to promote the heck out of it.
We had 10 people
I-
at my event.
That's but aren't they most of the people that are into the NaNoWriMo already?
No, we have one person from
Oh,
NaNoWriMo.
Good.
And I
Maybe
didn't
it's
know
like
like
Oh,
half
okay.
the people.
The last, like, all of the writing events that we've done since I've been part of the commission have had almost nobody there, or nobody there at all.
Yeah, if we get
been
the
inconsistent.
Facebook event up and then
I
we
think
can
Paul
share the
will.
crap out of that.
Well,
If I can pick the
Right.
flyers,
That will make the difference.
There you go.
I can pick the flyers up within the next week or so. I'll have a full month to put them out and people actually get more than a day to see them.
Okay. Reaching out now.
Chris, do you have
What's that?
do you have carpal tunnel?
My old job, I got like carpal tunnel symptoms and I'm doing physical therapy now. So I'm like,
I'm like,
I have to do it all the time.
Your vibes.
yeah, and I'm doing like the rice bucket compression too. I'm like,
What? Oh, show me what?
it's like you get a 2-gallon bucket of rice, or sorry, a 2-gallon bucket and get like some old rice or whatever and submerge your hand in it. And it's like compression. Like if you're a writer or an artist or something, it's like
Oh,
amazing.
oh.
It's like cold compression and it's like I'm addicted to it now. I'll
Okay.
probably do it right when I get home, like, yeah, I'm doing, that's why I gotta hound them for some fundraising at the proactive place.
So cool.
Josh is interested, so, cause he's like, yeah, we haven't gave to the art commission or anything, so. But yeah,
They're really good there. That's where I went.
Really?
For my, yeah, I went there for neck and shoulders.
they're awesome, yeah.
They do a great job.
I'm surprised, cause I
Okay.
Right-
Is that
right
the
on.
physical therapy that's? right
Yeah.
down there?
Oh, cool.
I did it with Kaiser and it was like,
I almost got them to donate, I think.
I did
Maybe
physical
they-
therapy with Kaiser Permanente and it was like, I didn't even have any difference, so I was like, can I do something a little outsourced? So they put me to this and it's like,
I've been having shoulder issues.
It's amazing.
That would be great.
they're really good. Josh is awesome. I think he owns this spot or runs it
Cool.
anyway, but yeah, they're great.
I know I was gonna fix that problem today.
I gotta hound him.
I do think that for your setup for that, just because it helps warm up the room, even putting those drop cloths on the tables would be nice.
Yeah.
With like a couple jars of pens and stuff, just because it helps make the room. a little bit,
Can you, let's see, so starts at 7, we can get in the room at
whenever.
6.
You can get in whenever. really,
Okay.
That day. They'll
Um,
send that code like they did before. and then
Okay.
you can get in.
if you want to, you have the drop cloths and the whiteboard.
Mhm, I can just
Meet me
drop
over
off
there
what we
at
need.
like 6:15 or whatever.
And just for future reference too, like I live like,
Oh, I
right
went to your,
here.
yeah, I remember,
Yeah.
I can't remember what I grabbed from you, but I,
something,
So-
so. if
Flyers.
Like, as we're dropping off flyers or if we need things, I have a pretty good space under my house. It's sort of become our storage area, much to my husband's chagrin.
I have that
Yeah.
giant graffiti board thing. I don't know if that could be useful in this in your guys' situation, but
I think that's probably too big. for
oh yeah, yeah. I was just saying it might be,
Yeah, that we have that too.
cause you could put paper up on top on it, like, or tape paper on it and use that as a surface for, but it's massive though. It's a 2-person carry.
I think just the whiteboard will work good for this, but that's good to know.
So this is sort of like like pictures. What the space.
Oh, yeah, that does
So
look
this
a
is
lot.
warms up the
Uh-huh.
space a little bit.
Panorama.
Yeah.
the-
These are the ones that I was
Just
gonna
the
send
getting it
and
going and
do
stuff
like
like
a Facebook post about our.
Besides that, not too much up. I think you got 75 for the
Yeah, I have,
booth fee.
I mean, I have a million
Figuring
tablecloths.
75
They're
plus-
all
The
different
easels. made
colors.
of
Plus
little
it's
nice
nice.
freaking-
And then like, you
Oh,
don't
yeah. it looks
donate an
great.
art piece for
Oh.
And this
You
is
know
the
what I
mean?
one woman's art.
I think that's
It's
where we're
like,
gonna
You're an artist.
figure
This
it.
is
Yeah.
cheater.
Brought in a ringer.
Right.
Who brought the
This is
ringer?
sort of the-
Or not salad
So-
option. I think they were
So
saying
when are we
like
gonna
that
have
was
our
like
next painting event?
So just take these
Painting
drop
event.
what was that?
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap,
Well,
like kind of
and
like
then I
a
know
swag,
that
or,
they do
uh,
like a theater program, so.
I think they're saying
We
not
did
having
this
options. They want
meeting.
to have them.
Oh,
Certain pieces might be valuable.
bottles of
and
water,
certain
we're all
might
eating
not.
pie, people
I
might.
have water.
Okay, cool, so I'll grab
Okay.
water,
Case
drop
of water.
cloths.
And I'll get.
The whiteboard, you can bring
And
that
you
all
know
out.
what, if you're doing the pie, will you just see what the situation is with the pie, and then if you're buying pie for the event. Maybe you could also buy a couple of snacks and that could be one request form.
Yeah.
Payment, instead of you doing it and me doing it.
Yeah, okay,
Last time I literally went to grocery outlet and got like some granola bars and some chips.
okay.
and
Yeah,
then
we
got water.
probably won't need that,
Yeah, if you're having pie.
just the pie and, but yeah, I was thinking like, it'd be nice to have upper water.
Yeah.
At the very least.
I mean, people like snacks, so.
Should be in there. Okay.
Yeah, and it's 7 and 9, so it's like people
I
have
can just
had
do those
dinner,
as
I mean,
Fundraising.
and we're doing pies, so I'm not gonna worry about anything else too much, but forks and plates need to buy, or do we have forks and plates somewhere in our?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do forks and plates.
I mean, I have these red plates. But that's. I'm kind of trying to use those, like reuse them for their plastic.
Oh,
Trying to reuse that for like, we're putting snacks out on the plate.
gotcha,
But yeah, you could buy some paper plates.
yeah, I'll just buy plates and forks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mike, what was the number you said your total budget for music and tech for Arts of the
I
Creek?
mean, I think if we could operate, hardline at least 2,100 if we have the 3 bands. Hold on. Is that right? Oh, yeah, because I think that Brianna is on tour then, and she would have been the only solo act, so we were talking about drums Casimir Ray. And those would be 500 each, I'd say baseline.
Okay.
And 600 for Paul is 2,100. So if we could sort of
Maybe-
pad that and
I was
see-
gonna say, we've had that, but especially if Tycho's only gonna be for an hour, we might want somebody else to fill an hour.
And
Sure.
while you were gone, we also had an
Yes.
idea of getting an additional PA system to get some sound onto the other side.
we could definitely stretch that out. So
So
we
how
have-
about, cause I'm kind of working on our
That
budget
won't-
requests
that
for
won't
next
affect-
year.
That won't affect the budget at all. That's just XLR length, and then we just bring a couple extra of those K10s. That should be, we can factor that in.
There's two.
All right,
Yeah, sorry.
all right. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do 2,500 then,
That would be
as-
comfortable.
that
Yep.
music tech part
Yep.
of that.
And there's a way to put a PA on the other side that will,
Are we talking about like
Base.
where that hard awning structure is all the way out there? Or
No,
where-
no,
not
no.
even that
no,
far.
so you would, it would face the library, but the
Just to
walking
sort
path
of-
would still be quiet.
Amphitheater,
Yeah,
I mean, that's also.
kind of like libraries up over here, getting some sound there so that we get like there and there.
Just behind.
but
the
this walking path is still kind of
Here,
quiet.
Okay, I see. I'm just.
So it's not
trying to
hidden behind the
direction.
building.
You want it to not point towards
Whispering
the
Pines.
phase one. Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Yeah, because
actually,
we're gonna keep
To
like
point
quiet
back
zone.
towards-
that's actually easier.
Okay,
Stretches
yeah.
it all the way down the path.
Okay.
Well, yeah, cause like Jean and some other
Yeah.
people brought up, like, it's actually nice to have it quiet. To have a place
People
that's
can
not
leave.
blazing.
People can leave and walk
Well,
over.
and each of those, I mean, obviously, they're all controlled by a master volume board, but they all do have dials on them so that we could individually turn them up or down.
Yeah,
So that's not a problem at all. And that's no additional cost.
Okay,
It's just
cool.
gear that is in the truck.
we were talking about how when you weren't directly in front of the amphitheater, you had no idea what was
Right.
going on.
Right.
And it was like, there was a
Good
band
makeup.
that I was into, and then we went and I took the kids on the walk to see, and I came back and there was this other band, and I was like, oh.
Mhm.
I was like, I would have stayed for
Right.
Homeboy and like left when these people came on. And, but you had no idea what was happening. And then they're talking about doing a raffle for a art, each booth maybe might
Oh, yeah.
donate an art piece.
That's what.
And
that's
it's
what
like,
she's
well,
talking
you can
about.
go on your PA and announce your raffle, but if you're on the other side of that, you don't know.
That also.
You couldn't make out the word,
That also
yeah.
became an issue was, the communicating with the whole space.
Yeah,
Like empty kind of.
Right, you,
So-
The other
we
thing
will
that we need to
need
talk
to
about-
address that. but
We don't,
that-
we don't need an X Games MC, something like that, but just like somebody that can.
Yes, only other thing.
I
Kind
did
of-
that for summer celebration. but I won't be here for Arts and Park, but I was the person that introduced the band.
Yeah,
Thanked our sponsors, stuff like that.
yeah, that person could be like the one that does the prize thing,
Cool, yeah.
prize raffle deal.
Okay, so then
I
that'll.
think it'd be
be
good for, to promote artists as well.
I'm gonna need to like make myself a to-do list about Arts of the Creek. And then, because I don't really know what to ask everybody for other than put Soldier Help with fundraising. I need to like create my own little flow chart for what Arts of the Creek needs to happen. Because there's a lot of that needs to happen and I want that to start happening now and in March. I mean, I think it was March when we like named it last year. We didn't get information out till like mid-April or May. Sorry guys, we were just talking about the agenda, and how we're mostly done and we might be done early. So, but,
We did a timeline for the grant application, so we'll expand that. That'll be the base
that'll be.
for our planning timeline for Arts at the Creek.
Okay. So we just looking at the agenda, we need to talk about the budget. I was like, oh, you did ask me that. I did think that.
Yeah,
through
I was
already.
like, wait, this sounds
I
very
already wrote
familiar.
it down. Okay, we need to talk a little bit about our budget and then we need to talk a little bit about poetry. And I think those are our last like big things on the agenda, and we kicked a bunch of cans down the road that will hopefully wrap up in March when we have like a date for Art at the Park and stuff like that. So Deborah, do you want to lead the conversation on budget? That is not my world of expertise. The Arts at the Creek budget's gonna be smaller because we're not gonna have to do as many signs. We could add to the signs we have.
Well, what was our total last year?
Cause in what we put in when it was still named Art and Music Crawl, we put in 1,500 and I feel like we spent
Way more.
way more than that. So, cause we're spending more than that this year just for music.
I literally don't even know if there's like, I don't think I have like a sheet where I put in all of these.
I think I do. I need like a big table to spread out everything on. Cause
Need
I
an
cannot keep
executive
any
desk.
numbers in my head.
The costs were music, which you have a new number for music.
Yep, I got our number for
We
music.
spent like $1,000 on t-shirts. That
Wait,
would be in the,
Are we planning on spending that much again
No,
for
no.
t-shirts?
no, but we will need to get. we
Maybe
talked about-
500 for t-shirts?
Cause you're
Yeah,
getting kids
but
ones
we-
now.
Kid sizes and a couple more of the big ones.
Okay, t-shirts. How about I'm gonna put in like 700 for that, just so we have it. Promotion. I definitely feel like it's worthwhile to do either the yard signs or the pamphlet ad this summer. Like maybe we can't do both, but I really feel like we should at least try to do one of them.
I think doing the pamphlet ad is great. I also think like last time I printed out the Arts of the Creek stuff and laminated them and
So,
changed them on. yard
DIY that
signs.
with the
Correct. Do
admin.
that again.
Okay,
Only one of them disappeared. I
I-
put like 3 or 4 of them up. We have 1 trillion yard signs from the art crawl that Heidi like painstakingly put all these tiny little vinyl stickers on. And I just taped things over the top of those and used that. So
I would really love to see us ask for like, if we make our wish list budget, to ask the city for the amount that we need. Like, not assume that we're gonna dip into what's in our account already, but like, we got the 2,300, what's the amount that we need? And can we ask the city between like a grant from the city and putting it into our budget request for the next year and just level set that like, I mean, they could say no, and then we're like, okay, that's where we stand with the
Yeah.
city. But it would be really great in terms of sustainability
like,
for
are
this
you actually
event.
gonna be giving us money?
Yeah,
Right.
like, can we regularly have $2,500 specifically for this event? You know, in the budget every year, like we put in the public art purchase or things like, it just would be nice to just ask for whatever we think is reasonable. And then if they say no, or they say like, we'll give you half if you can fund the rest of it, like,
And that's the piece I've never
Seems-
understood, like, we're sending in a budget request, but we're covering all that expenses, so it's not really a request. It's saying like, we're gonna spend our money this way, it's not really asking them for money.
well, I mean,
I don't know how that works.
so as long as I was on the commission before I came on the commission this round, we regularly asked for $2,000 or $2,500 for admin costs. And we said, this is going to be our admin costs. And it, like, we never spent it all. We asked for it. We got it every year. And then like 3 years before, you know, we started asking for like, what if we did an art purchase and we added in $750 a year, and like we did that. And then the year we didn't get the RAC funding for the summer celebration, we said, hey, can we have an additional $10,000 for this to cover this amount? Because that event was really expensive, and the city covered most of it because we lost the RAC funding. So, you know, the budget request really can be a request for reasonable things that we think that we're gonna spend out for the year. And they could say no, like they've come back and said, hey, well, like, I think the 750, we agreed on that because we asked for 1,500 and they're like, what about 750? Can you work with that?
We can work with any.
But it,
amount of it.
but it really is a request for what we think that we want. So, you know, if, especially because RAC has quit doing grants out here, and that was a huge funder for us, you know, I think as a city commission, like, it's totally within our reach to say, we'd like to have this money from the city every year for this event. So, that's just
Okay.
my. Want to throw that out there. I mean,
think so, yeah, just
it's
shoot
great
for
that
the-
we
shoot
can
for the moon.
DIY,
If they
but
say
like,
no, you say no.
yeah.
Well, and it would help us not feel like we're treading water
Right.
and trying to like keep up with ourselves. every
Right,
year.
so like, you know, either or with the yard sign or the quarter page ad, let's budget for both
Let's
of them
go
and
vote.
ask for it.
Yep.
And if they say no,
I
then we'll
think
say
that's a
which
good
one do
plan.
we want.
I think it's a great idea.
That's
Okay.
perfect. Then you
Yeah,
have
that
some more
is
growth.
something that I
right?
noticed at the meeting last year that, you know, we presented a balanced of fun, and a lot of the other commissions didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know where we got the idea that we had to do that, but thank you. All right, so I came up with 4,200 as our basic budget for Arts at the Creek this year. That's 2,500 for music, 700 for t-shirts, 500-ish promo. I think that's about what the pamphlet ad costs, and 500 for a face painter. And that she might be able to do. I know we usually pay 300 for 2 hours at the library, so maybe she could do a 3-hour chunk, middle of the day,
I'll reach out.
for 500. But you know what? I would be willing, she's wonderful. I'm willing to pay her for however much time she is willing to give us.
There was people lined up for it, so yeah,
Yeah,
Oh my God, my
Yeah,
kids
sure,
were
she's
obsessed with
wonderful.
it. Mhm.
a perfect
She's
idea.
great, and just for the record, we are rebuilding a relationship that was burned to the ground with the previous arts commission, so she's pretty psyched about that, and I think she wants to be a part of all events that we can invite her to.
Man, I couldn't,
Much like
I
the-
couldn't get my
much like
kids in a
Kettle
bath
Corn.
for a week after that. They're legit, like, absolutely, they were
Well, there's
obsessed.
names
They
that you
love.
She goes
really
well,
prefer and
very
look
well.
more down, But like, they are such community supporters that like,
Mhm.
if we incorporate them, it will just go a long way.
She's
in the
the
long
Trails
run.
End,
Mhm.
California.
She's literally at like every
Mhm.
Estacada event, and she's so kind, and so like, we'll just be there in any capacity.
Mm-hmm.
She's really great. Yeah, I'm looking at our expenses that we like reimbursed for Arts at the Creek last year, just for lack of other things. And there weren't like a lot of these we don't have to pay for again. Like we have a square reader. We spent like $700 on signage that we can reuse all of. There's not a whole lot here other than like the shirts and the banners and the music and the square reader. I think there's somewhere in here, there was like a $60 thing that I bought to sell snacks. But for the record, I don't think we necessarily need to do that. That was also because we didn't have almost any food vendors. I think we could easily just like sell water or sell drinks, like sell cold drinks that are cheap. But I also think if we have a bunch of food vendors, we want them to be able to get the money for it. So
One thing that was really nice in the old days of the summer celebration is that the Arts Commission like gave out water to all of the vendors.
Mm-hmm.
80 degrees is not too bad. It could very easily be 100. And that was an essential when you were out there running like
That's
kids
a great
crafts or
idea.
whatever. So I'd love to see water hit the budget too, just like,
and I could get us a deal on that. I could get some.
We had the
case
big
water.
wheeled coolers.
Yeah.
I remember,
yeah,
yeah.
people would just walk around with like
Mhm.
wet handkerchiefs and a cooler of water and just
Mhm.
hand it out to people who were visiting and vendors, and just like
I love that.
water was free because I mean that's
Everybody had.
Because
Yeah.
you're there for like,
yeah.
Well, we
6
have a-
hours,
We
like,
have a small enough number of vendors too. Like I was able to really like greet everybody, and then at the end of the day, I went around and literally talked to almost everybody before they left.
Mhm,
And I think those personal touches go a long ways too.
mhm.
So the question is really like, we'll have to see, we'll really need to like map out how many spots we can have too, so that we might have to limit the vendors. If we start advertising early, we might have like 30 or 40 people, and then we have to make sure we have space for those people. I don't know if that would be a problem, but I like anticipating that might be a problem. Okay.
so what's our pie in the sky ask for money?
Well, we did 9,000 last year. I think we should be at least 10,000 at minimum. Especially if we're committing to Arts and Park, Oktoberfest, and doing something at Christmas Tree.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I'd be comfortable going up to 12. Cause I mean, we want a budget at least, at minimum like 200 for supplies for those.
In order to create those things.
Yeah.
And to make those things be free.
And I've gotten 500 for Estacada crates, but I really feel like that might be a little bit low to do 100 per
That's low
event.
for really like, our estimated crates is much more minimal this year too, though.
And the chalk is a separate.
The chalk, if the chalk is a separate thing, then
Thing.
really like we've got the pie things, the collage stuff, we're buying supplies
Well-
for that though, so that might be a little.
Pie is, we're still in fiscal year
Oh, next
24.
year.
Yeah,
So that starts July, is that?
I would
yeah,
say
July
though,
1st.
I would say like, just because everybody's volunteering for us to get a creates right now, doesn't mean that they continually will, and asking for a higher number and being like, oh, and then we got all this in kind stuff that's here. So we
Mhm.
save this money, but next year we want the same amount because we don't want to assume that everybody's gonna volunteer.
That's true, because yeah, we have a lot of people
So
doing that.
keeping that 500
Yeah,
bookmark just for presenters and maybe another 100 each event for supplies, snacks.
Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt, sidebar, I got Ray on the line real time, she's saying $750 for a 6-piece for a 2-hour set, that sounds like. We should be able to swing it, because that's essentially pushing up that budget from 2,100 to 2,350. Still within the 25, does that sound reasonable?
we can- If we can nail down Ray right now, let's, yes.
She's.
Like, we'll figure out the other
Yeah,
bits.
I mean, cause we've got time for fundraising.
Yep.
I feel like we're in good shape that we can confidently
And
say,
also, like,
let's
if we
do
get
it.
the music locked down, all these things like make fundraising easier. We can be like.
Oh,
"Look,
yeah.
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
We have like
I
Tycho
mean,
coming, we got
she's,
Legends
you know,
coming.
Yeah.
Her and
We, like, you, when, if people.
Like
know
that flyer
Jaws
is gonna
there-
be bonkers
Yeah.
when, with all that, so you can show them that.
Well, and like
when
that
you're doing your
carrots for
spiel.
fundraisers, you're like, the community will show up for these musicians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
let's also ask Maddie to maybe do some big format posters.
And then we can
That
put
have
our,
that in
I
there.
was gonna say, and on the bottom of those posters, you would put all your logos for
Your fundraisers,
partners
yeah.
with. And that's a selling point, like when we were doing it for Paige, it was like, you know, hey, give me, $150, donate to Paige, and we'll put your ad in our
we have a
playbill.
whole
You can do a little one, you
structured
can do a
system.
big one,
we
so.
can look at and reassess.
And so
Yeah.
if you're saying, hey, look at these great posters, Ray Gordon, like, and then your little guy will be down here saying how proudly supporting of Estacada events you are.
The budget
And
we're
we-
talking about right now, is this just for arts in the park or is this for the whole?
This is
whole
for
thing.
all of 2025.
Okay.
That's
So
that we're
it's
kind of
gonna-
spitballing. Yeah, we
Yeah,
haven't,
we're-
and we
yep,
haven't even
okay.
talked
Okay.
about poetry in the parks yet. Ah.
So without us being done early.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
We can do it. If we are asking Maddie to design a poster size that I'm also thinking that maybe that could be print ad also for Pamplin,
Oh, yeah.
we should pay her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm, we're beyond, volunteer level of what I'm comfortable asking somebody for.
I wonder if there's a number that we could say, because I'm looking at my flyers we're asking you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and like, for some of these, like, I can jump on Canva and give it a go, but we're talking, I wanna do a poster that we can reuse over and over again for every Estacada Creates. I can try to make that, cause it can have our logo and a QR code that like is laminated, it goes on the door. It's just like a Estacada Creates feedback form. But from her, we need the Paiku, we need the May collage event, which these ones won't take too long. Art in the Park, I wondered about asking her to create it because I don't think Parks has that skill on tap. Theirs don't look as fancy as ours.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do that for them, the chalk, NaNoWriMo, and then Arts at the Creek. I mean, that's like, we're talking like 7 things we're asking her to create. So like, I can ask her to like quote us, like, we love that you're volunteering. Could we volunteer you? And maybe you're giving us a discounted rate of your time. Because we do want to make it worth her time. And she's lovely, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I have no idea what kind of money we're looking at for that, but I can just float it to her and ask her.
Okay.
Or at least be like, thank you so much. We do want to pay you for the Arts in the Creek though, because we know that'll be more involved
Mhm.
or whatever,
And I'm thinking we're really gonna use the Arts at the Creek. I think we're gonna reuse the same graphics since that's what's on our sign. I think we're just gonna update the times, like the dates and stuff. It's aside the one that has like the musical lineup, but for our like vendor asks and stuff like that, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. I think we need to update the dates and send those same things out again. So we're really asking for like the promotional poster.
Yeah.
That has like the musical lineup and the sponsors. And in terms of printing those posters, I have a printer poster, like a poster printer at school. So I can print like a solid handful of those out before anybody.
Okay.
Blinks an eye.
It would also be nice to have that number for future grants as an in-kind, like this is, you know,
Graphic
legit what we
design.
have for graphic design. And I mean, that's a huge expense.
Yeah.
And a huge benefit to the city so we should be showing that.
I mean, let's be real, they approved that ridiculous door thing that had like 8 events, one of which was like their graduation date, and they spent like $2,000 on getting that designed and printed. So like, if we pay Maddie a few $100s for something we're disseminating all throughout the year, like, we're still saving a boatload of money. We need to ask her to do a calendar.
Yeah. But I would love, I don't know, do you want me to talk to her about that? Or
Sure.
do you wanna? Or just CC me on it?
Yeah, we'll just.
Yeah.
Usual conversation.
Conversation with Ray has gone sideways. It's really.
Oh, no. Uh-oh, in a good way, I hope.
All
right.
Because she's running for county commissioner too, and so there's all these.
Oh, gotcha. That sideways that way.
She's just telling me about all the people that are like giving her shit about.
I was wondering if it,
Somebody started a rumor that she got high on mushrooms and then decided she was gonna run for county commissioner.
That's why.
She's like, I don't even like mushrooms on my pizza.
10 out of 10. 10
out of 10.
Oh,
I'm
good
like,
votes though for her.
I was
That's
like,
what you
yo,
told me.
Psilocybin and politicians goes hand in hand, man.
10 out of 10, you got my vote.
Okay, so
I,
we need that number for your budget.
yes. This is a great start. I'm okay coming back to this later and,
We need that by what?
April usually, April, yeah, March, April. They use, I think the budget meetings and approvals are in April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cause just for promotional purposes, whenever you have that, like, we have them locked and loaded, if we need to put a deposit down to hold them.
Yep, I know, what we do have is she has a very informal confirmation contract.
Love it.
Casimir has given a email confirmation, and then I just sent the Tyco email today, the follow-up from her. So that would be the total of the music acts, and then I think that it's $1,750 for the whole lot, and then
So it's Ray Gordon, Casimir Effect. Is Ray Gordon, that's the name of the act.
it's gonna be the Ray Gordon Blues Band. She has a 6-piece band. I don't exactly know what that
Awesome.
means. And of course, because I'm a total
Nerd.
I just was like, if you need a couple more horn players,
Band.
you know what I mean?
And that was
So,
750?
You ask,
What was the number?
6 people. Oh, $750 for her. conference.
750, okay.
Correct.
so will you ask her for promotional purposes, what she would like us to put on promotional things?
Yeah, actually, she said if we're gonna create a event page for the Facebook thing, then she has some like template materials that we can use. And of course, she's also trying to be like, if you want to put some of my political signs up too. you can."
Gotta draw the line there.
Right, I mean,
not for this, but
no, yeah.
We'll
I
talk
told
later.
her, I know. I was like, I know some properties that we can put your signs up at.
But it would be the Ray Gordon Blues Band. Will you just ask her what like the name of her, if we wanna say like, I'm just thinking for promotional purposes, I wanna put on our fundraiser, like we already have musicians. And this is gonna be
Dialed in,
happening, so
yeah.
we have like, that should be in our letter, we're featuring local bands already, we've got Tyco, like a major drum performance coming. So we can sell it.
Yeah, so she said in order to populate her Facebook page, it would need to be called the Ray Gordon Band.
The Ray Gordon Band.
Yeah, and I already started calling her Commissioner Gordon. She thought it was hilarious.
Oh my God, from that hand.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Na, 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 na. Blues woman.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing.
Almost confirmed with all 3.
Correct.
Ray Gordon Band.
Ray Gordon. So Alicia, I will work on coming to the next meeting with fundraising letters. I think that's reasonable to start in March.
Yeah.
Because last time was like, we sent them out via the mail. That was a terrible idea
So
and a waste of my time. And I spent a lot of time doing it. So I'm
No,
not doing that again.
you
I
just,
want to just hand them out.
yeah, okay.
I
And-
literally went around and like did my little spiel. I just think it makes more of an impact.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And I especially want to hit up, what's his name? This nicest guy who I know that we can get, especially if we're telling him that we're featuring youth artists. The guy that has the cool wooden trains in the window, the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The,
Insurance
it's,
market guy.
what you call it? It's
What's his
a
name?
insurance company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cause he, literally, if you walk into the office, the walls are covered with art that's been purchased from high school students.
Mhm.
Like, and he was all about it last year. I think I asked him not like too late and we just didn't coordinate. I
He
think it
was our
like-
insurance broker at Page.
He's
So I
such a nice
talked to
guy,
him
and he's all
many
about
times.
promoting, so I think
Mhm.
especially if
Nice.
we sell it with like the, you know, we're gonna be featuring youth artists that are welcome to come and sell their things at the
Mhm.
thing for free, like, I think if we hit people up early
Yeah.
with the lineup already, I think it'll be a hopefully we'll get some more people to sign up, cause in order to do, like, we have to put a timeline on it, it's like, I mean, what's the timeline, like May, in order to get promotional materials with their logo on it?
Yeah.
Since we really want to promote it hard, starting like June.
Yeah.
So we really need to, like, by June 1st, I think, have funding in. Like, you
Yeah,
have to commit to us by June 1st so that we can get your logo on signs.
we, this would go on people's taxes next year, though, like the write-offs.
And it takes people, I think it's like a 60-day, they have to make sure, you know, there's a timeline thing. I've derailed this with arts of the week.
That's okay.
Budget, we're good on budget though so far?
Yes, I feel like
Pause.
we are, I've got enough to work on. And I will come back at the March meeting with our budget numbers to go over, and then we'll be able to approve that and then send it on to council for April.
Great. Okay. Dave. Go.
Okay, I finally did get an estimate on signs for poets and public
From-
places. I'm gonna memorize
Got that
this.
one.
No, the one right downtown.
Oh, wait.
Whitney,
Whitney I was in. And he said he could do it for $45 a sign. I took in the one that I had. And he said, I'd recommend a heavier grade of aluminum, so it doesn't bend around the post like this one did.
Oh.
And he said, we can put the holes in it and we can print it overnight or in 2 weeks or a month, whenever you want. And I showed him, the outside design elements, and then each sign would have individual ones, so he knows exactly what we're doing. He said he could put a QR code on it if we wanted that.
That's perfect.
I know the Mankato people use the QR code. I think in one time they used it to give directions to the next sign, and they also made recordings of the writers reading their poetry, so
That's cool.
I don't know how to do any of that, but I know can be done.
Yeah.
So that's the cost of the sign. Now, I think
Not
we should,
including the, like, a 4x4 to put it on, right?
no, and we thought the Parks Department, we would have to negotiate with them about location and the actual mounting, so that detail we'd have to work out later. But I thought the price was pretty
that's
good.
very
He
reasonable.
also said
Yeah.
if we had to, get other bids, he said he would match or beat any other bid that we
Oh,
got.
shit,
So
okay.
he seems to want to do this.
Nice.
Um,
That's great.
we need to get somebody to design the outer side of it. If we have a logo from a sponsor, if we want the Arts Commission logo on it. I'd like to get a little credit to Mankato for all their help with doing it. And I don't know if we want to get Vince to do that design work, or if we want to give Maddie another job, or.
If we're doing you're talking like a border of it? Or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Implementing
Like
the logo of the Arts Commission?
Yeah.
The template that we would
Yeah,
use
and
for
then,
all of
yeah,
them.
essentially
And-
all
yeah.
of the standard stuff goes around the
Yeah.
outside,
Mhm.
and there was even about a third of the sign that had logo and information, and then a QR code spot. And then the rest of it was for the poem itself. So we'll need to, I think we should, I
Can
got
we-
I got the
Sort of work this
impression
out.
that he would do that design for us, but I think it would cost us more. And
Right,
I'd rather pay a designer.
Right.
We really, the locations the potential locations, we had like a dozen of them.
Oh, there's way more
Oh,
than that
no,
now.
well,
Yeah, we
like
talk-
20 of them.
Yeah, we talked about how many we could do in a year. I mean, we want to have this a I would like to have it be a continuing project where we put things up for like a 3-year cycle. I think I said something about we could have as many as 45 at one time if we did 15 a year for 3 years, but I'm
So, yeah,
thinking if
maybe
we
like
aim at,
we
if we aim
start
at
with
doing,
15 and then
yeah, if we aim
add
at
to it.
doing 10, that's $450 for the signs plus a design.
Right.
That's the sort of physical side of it.
Did you happen to ask Whitney, like, would they do a discount on that if we put their logo?
I,
on it?
I did mention that we would consider that, but I didn't do any negotiating. It was very informal. And I said, I don't need an official estimate right now, a bid right now, but I want to get
I
a
just need a
ballpark
yeah.
idea. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I mentioned that we could, if we get a discount, we can put a logo on and those kinds of things. So that's the sign side of it, which is more reasonable than I thought.
Yeah, that's great.
And again, the timing of it, he said he could do it almost overnight, so that's good. And this was Sean Drinkwater or Drinkwine, and he implied that nobody else in town was capable of doing this sort of
They
thing.
like to-
He's the only licensed sign maker in town or something,
Right.
so. Anyway, that seemed pretty good. We would need to get somebody to judge and select the poems, and again, Chelsea, I think, would be an ideal person to do that. Unless she wants to put her own stuff up.
It might be a good idea to have that be a group of, a small
Yeah,
group
yeah,
of
but-
people, so that if
yeah.
there are any problems that arise, you
Yeah.
can say this was reviewed by a panel.
Mhm.
of
What
every
about-
council.
Also thought
Yeah.
about inviting Emily. to
Emily
do that
Moon.
as
Oh,
well.
that would
Would
be
be a
great. Yeah.
wonderful person.
I wonder
to
if
do
there's
that.
even, like a teacher or somebody at the schools that we could invite. They might be a little biased.
But we could have, I mean, the poems can be submitted
Nameless.
Just as a
anonymously for judging.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
what I anticipate is we would have people write a cover letter and list the titles of their works, maybe up to 3 to 5. And then we would just put a letter on each batch of submissions.
There you go.
So the judges would not see names or know anything about
That's perfect then.
yeah. So anyway, I think we need to have at least one
Have a judging
judge,
committee.
yeah,
Maybe
but I
like
think.
Emily, Chelsea,
Dave.
Dave.
Except then I can't submit any. So, but,
Well,
We
if you
should
want to
one-
submit it, you can.
well.
We should have
maybe.
one person on the commission to be a part of the judging.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
I would love
Okay.
to do it. I want to look at poems.
But anyway, we
read
have
poems.
to do that. I think we should, again, look at paying the lead judge or the person who's gonna do the paperwork side of that. Unless, and again, I'm asking about promotion. Are we gonna do it just on the city website? I mean, I know that personally, I know a number of poets around that I would contact.
No, if we can pay a judge.
Mhm.
I don't know if like juries, if that's a precedent to pay jury members. There are some rules about how if you're doing like a jury selection, you know, how that can be managed. Since we're not
Mhm.
paying people for their poems, I think it's
Mhm.
less important that we have somebody outside of this Estacada city limits. But if, for example, we were paying people for their poetry and it was a jury selection, it would be essential with the size of our town that we had at least one member that was outside of the city limits. But I don't know about paying jury members. I don't know. I think we'd be on safer ground if they're volunteers. I don't know if there's official rules about not
What's
paying
the
people.
paperwork side of it that you're?
Well, if,
worried-
I'm just thinking, not the number of people who would send things in. If we do it either electronically or they may do it in paper, we need to do both options, I think. And some person would have to scan those at least and put letters on them and I think
Right.
respond to the people who submit.
We could have
Mm.
somebody at the city though, prepping things for
Oh,
us potentially.
I mean, whoever gets our mail, I just know
Is
we have a
city.
city
Yeah,
mailbox,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that person's already getting the mail.
And that's
Okay.
us,
Okay,
it's me, Deborah.
that's you, okay, so.
But I mean, like, I don't know if it's something that, like, we could compensate Alex for her time to do that or something, I think would be.
I believe that she is already,
She's being
That would be-
compensated for helping us. So I feel
Yeah.
like we
that's
should
part
ask
of
that
her
for
job. being
Yeah.
Our staff person.
So I mean,
So
that
whoever collects
maybe-
the mail can set aside the poetry submissions. Anyway, like, and then whoever, let's see, you would have to glean them off the internet and print them out, print out the ones that are submitted online too, but maybe Alex could do that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like she redacted all the Estacada
Yeah.
commissioner applications
Like
and
she
gave
could
them to
print
us.
things and redact names.
Yeah,
like,
And then
provide
we'd have
copies
a
to the
volunteer jury
Yeah,
potentially.
so
So I
that would
definitely
review
think
that.
in the realm of things we could ask.
So that's not necessarily like, would be like Chelsea or Emily or someone doing
Okay,
all one
okay.
thing. Would be spread out between
Mhm.
people.
And really, the jury would be asking, like, would you come together on this day
Yeah.
for maybe like a 2-hour conversation? And help us select, and I think that the people that we
Okay.
would be asking would be more than happy to do that on
Okay.
a volunteer basis.
Okay,
Don't
And
you think? I mean, I
provide
imagine.
lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
provide lunch
Yeah.
and,
Yeah,
okay.
We could do it in here or at the Reed Creek Room or something like that,
Mhm.
you know?
Okay, and we'd use the city website, right? For and our,
promoting the ask
yeah.
and
Facebook
Facebook, we
events.
could create our own.
And we could also do, that would be something like a request
Mhm,
for art that could go out to multiple other
mhm.
spots if we decide, we need to decide what's our range that we're asking
Mhm.
from? Are we asking specifically
Mhm.
Estacada residents, Estacada Connection, Clackamas County, Oregon? Like, that's something we need to decide
Yeah,
for our ask and how widely we want to promote it.
yeah, I think in my larger discussion of this, I suggested that writers would put in their connection to Estacada, Clackamas County or Oregon.
Mhm.
And I know that when Mankato does it, they want people who live within 50 miles or 100 miles of Mankato. I think that.
I like the way that you said that though, with like express your connection, because you might have an Estacada resident that like grew up here and maybe now they live in Seaside, but they grew up here and have a connection to the town and have become a writer in their own right somewhere else. So if they have a connection to the town or grew up here,
Mhm.
I think it's important to validate that because you're not only gonna be servicing the people that are here forever.
Yeah.
I like that idea, because I feel like the door should be creaked open to that.
Mhm,
Not like
A lot of
my
people that
brother's,
identify as-
my brother's best friend's grandma's
Yeah,
friend lives in Estacada, but like, and the jury could go through that and say like, oh, that's not really
Yeah,
appropriate,
that's-
this
yeah.
should be
Right.
validated.
that would be part of the selection process.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that's great. I see those conversations a lot on like local Facebook pages, like you shouldn't be part of this if you're not part of, and there's a lot of people that are like, well, I don't live there anymore, but I'm still invested in the community. And I think in some circumstances, like in terms of this and validating like artists and writers who come from Estacada, that we should allow them to bring something back to their town, even if they don't live there.
Rather than instigating political discourse.
Yeah, there's appropriate times to invite those
Most
people in. But I think that's cool, cause I mean, then you're validating
Yeah, I would
people that
like
left
to make it-
Estacada.
I
Like
would like
you-
to make it so we're kind of at least aiming statewide, but at
Okay.
least the first year,
I-
because
Yeah.
I have some contacts that I want to at least get them to submit things or consider submitting things. So I
So
think that
then-
Estacada,
yeah.
Clackamas County, Oregon focus would be good.
Estacada connection.
Yeah, the other thing is, if we're gonna publish things, we need to make sure that these are original works and that the writer has the ability to either publish them or reprint them. I'll
So
work on-
plagiarize.
I'll work on some language
Yeah.
for that.
And there's probably applications out there that have appropriate legalese on all that. Yeah,
You
so
might-
that would be in
Yeah.
that application.
The one, that, again, Mankato said it doesn't, it could be previously published and they weren't bothered. by
You
it.
might also want to have a statement about CGI. Or not, CGI,
AI.
AI.
Yeah.
G-chat, whatever.
Yeah.
GPT.
I
Thanks,
don't know.
Scott.
No, it's gonna
I
be
think
really
we can
Thanks,
figure
there's
this out.
garbage, I don't know.
Anything ChatGPT is gonna be stupid, so.
I
I
In this
think
conversation, maybe.
As I start stumbling through those things, I'm like. oh,
it's
man.
just the way a ChatGPT would pretend to not be AI though.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She's glitching now.
And then the other thing that we have to, if we want to solicit student work, young people's work, which I think we should. I think anybody under 18 would have to have them say that, at least say that their parents had approved
Right,
this.
right.
Mhm.
Uh, Again, I don't know that we have to have parents sign anything, but I would like people under 18 to print their age. And that they have parental permission to.
That's a
apply.
standard,
Parental
Yeah.
permission.
yeah,
to
and to have that
submit.
signature line, I think that's an easy enough thing. I mean, this is
Oh,
gonna
okay,
be like
yeah.
a solid front back application
Oh, okay.
of,
Okay, well, I'm just-
Info.
I would say, yeah, this is what you need to do. And again, we want them to. In the letter to cover these issues. List their submissions. And that would take care of that, and then. Probably contact information, that sort of thing.
So for promotion,
Mm.
definitely need to go outside of just the city website and Facebook and stuff. Again, this is where it would be so great to have some connection with the schools. But like, you know, the high school, middle school, art, not art, well, it could be art, but you know, the English faculty, yeah, exactly, or creative writing.
Do you think the school tries to play hard to get it?
I don't know, because I do want them more, so
Seems-
maybe,
It
if
seems-
so, they're
seems like
smart,
that.
because it's like, I'm just like, I've never wanted a school so much. Never wanted to like talk to a superintendent so bad,
But that's a place where you can go to the school librarians, which you have a direct connection to.
I do, yeah.
Because we're doing Battle of the Books
Yeah,
because
Henry-
of the librarian,
Henry's
not
in
because
Battle
of
of the Books right
anybody
now.
else.
Yeah, maybe, shoot, you know what? Let me talk to
Great.
Deborah about Mrs. T from Rivermill about cross promotion with the other librarians. I know that for sure she knows the Clackamas River librarian because they do Battle of the Books together. I don't know, no, yeah, because she's doing homework club for the middle school, so she knows the middle school librarian. So maybe she could, in her secret library channels, and reach out and see about that.
I can't imagine that language arts teachers who do a poetry unit at some point
I
during the
know.
year, I think would not want to promote that. So, yeah.
I agree.
I mean, oh, if we could time our launch with when they do their poetry units, that would be even better, but I have no idea when that would be since I don't have little ones anymore.
Congratulations.
I know, I'm an empty nester now.
You did it. You can have dinner at a real adult dinner time. I'm so jealous. I eat dinner at 5:30 every night. Yeah.
A grilled cheese sandwich.
Hey, it doesn't matter what it is. You're eating at 8, baby. You're out there.
I could do it at like 4:30. All right.
So
we
I
have
will,
a lot of-
I
we
will
have a
try
lot
to,
of to-dos. You
yeah,
guys
I will
wanna
try to
take those
draft
down.
all of this and have it ready next month. Is that soon?
Yeah, once something's
then-
drafted and I can get like a piece of paper or an email and then I can give it to, I mean, I'll talk to the librarian about it Tuesday. I'm in there every Tuesday, but it'd be nice to be like,
we're not at that point yet.
Or wanna-
We are at the
Yeah.
point of preparing stuff to give it to City Hall
oh.
and get approval
Okay,
from City
okay.
Council
I'm
first,
way-
because this
I'm
is
way
a
up.
public, yeah, so
I
we're
thought
not.
For sure, okay.
But,
didn't realize
yes,
that.
isn't April National Poetry Month? And obviously we won't be ready for this April, but can we set our sights on like next April?
That's a
launch?
great idea.
I love that.
A year and a month and a half to
Oh, you want to wait that long?
plan.
Well, I'm
It's
just
their
thinking it
approval.
may
I
take
think-
that long to organize, like,
Oh, to get approval.
maybe installing them next April, if that's that's our target, thinking about like approval from the city, getting the budget.
God.
Like,
I
doing the
think the
jury,
year
picking
is
the,
To,
Installing them in April would be
Okay.
kind of cool.
Yeah. I
Be
think that's a
like,
great
oh, like
idea.
poetry month, like we're big reveal of this poetry thing
Spring.
that we've been working
Well,
on.
and if there's a panel that's gonna approve, and figure out who's, it might take that long
Okay,
for us
all
to
right.
start. this.
Okay, that's-
Just thinking
so you
realistically,
probably want
the-
submission, if we're going to, if we're thinking of April 2025 as the date, you probably want your submissions to start rolling in September, November,
Or even earlier.
or even earlier.
Yeah.
But if we're
The panel
talking
meets
school,
about-
we want the
that panel
kids in
meets
Yeah,
school.
it's in school.
Yeah, you know,
That saves me having to announce that
Well,
I'm
yeah,
gonna be
maybe
gone
plant- maybe
a lot this spring, so.
plant the seed with the
Yeah.
administration or with the teachers, faculty, and then be like,
plant the
year-
seed
next year
in
when school starts back
June.
up, this is something that you can chew
It
on.
could be
and
like the
participate.
maybe the panel meets in October or November, like that would be the submission would be like November first. Panel could meet sometime in November and then the logistics could happen after that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Cause the sign post installation, because it all has to go through the city, and we're
Mhm.
wanting to put it in all sorts of places, like some is gonna need a city approval.
And
some
we
is
can
gonna be
probably more
parks,
easily
some is
do
gonna be-
15 then instead of just 5 or 10, yeah.
Yeah, we could
Okay.
do a bigger number,
Yeah,
like 15 or
okay.
20.
But yeah, like you're saying also that it has to be delegated to different people.
Yeah, I don't think a
Yeah.
year is too,
Parks.
it might
and
even take
city
longer.
works and all that shit. Like, they have enough, City Works has enough going on right now that they're.
So then at least we
They're
could
booked
get,
6
I mean, we
months
could
out.
get the
Understand.
posts put in
Yeah.
between now and then like the printage of the signs you could do in
Okay.
March and then get it on the sign, once
Yeah.
the posts are already installed. Because the
Posts are
installation of
in.
all the posts
I could just
is
show
gonna
up with an impact driver.
I will write up my understanding of what we have discussed here and bring it next month and then you can
Mhm.
revise it and edit it and we'll work on it that.
And we could put a bug in the ear of
Oh, yeah, we-
librarians.
Dave, can you
June, we
get
still have
into
two,
the
2
Google
weeks of
Drive?
school in June. so-
I haven't tried.
Okay,
You're talking about what Google Drive? What-
the
what
Google
site?
Drive for the
The
Arts
one that Jesse
Commission
made.
that Jesse
I
made.
haven't looked for that.
Okay, if you email stuff to me.
Okay.
I can also
gotcha.
consolidate
Okay.
and then maybe we can get stuff printed out for the next meeting to go over if we have
Okay.
time. Do you think we have time next month?
But yeah, I've got everybody's email address, so.
Can you
I'll-
tell me
I'll
what
send
your
it to you.
email address is? Son is starting to get.
Don't mind?
Yeah.
My name's Solheim Dave @gmail.com.
HEI?
Yeah, SOLHEIM.
Oh, ha.
Yeah.
There it
Oh, yes.
does say right there, solheimdave@gmail.com.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I think I may have shared this like before. We were, okay, we got me, Alicia, Deb.
Yeah,
Vectronics,
I'm in
Mike.
the drive right now,
Me,
mailing
Maddie.
list, no special volunteers. I also, you needed to text or something, talk to someone the other day and I realized I only have your. Him and I talk online. I have Jean's phone
Okay.
number and I have yours phone number, but where in the drive is everyone's?
I don't think we have that.
And we have
We,
that
let's,
Right now.
Let's actually end our meeting if we're gonna do contact info exchange, so we're not,
that's a great plan, cause I was looking here and I don't see it.
we're pretty,
I think
we're pretty
Is
close,
this what you're
right?
talking about?
Are we
Something?
ending?
So like if you go
No,
to.
that's-
Something different.
Okay, this is
So
the,
you
Yeah.
this is the city stuff, right?
I know, I'm sweating now.
Drive,
Shall I say 127?
it'll be in.
It's nice though.
the-
Are we definitely
It's a good break from like dreary weather, so.
Uh,
Do you
I
have
have-
to do next time, since this stuff is pretty much, we have a lot of, we'll have time in our next meeting.
I don't have that.
Is it an
review these
iPhone?
Sort of action.
Yeah.
items.
Oh, that's why.
Mm.
So I have a Samsung, so it's
That sounds
already
good.
installed.
All right, shall we, you're gonna contact Alex or do it up?
Text Alex right now.
What are we
Okay.
doing?
Cool.
What's going on?
We're gonna turn off that and end the meeting and,
Oh,
or in the other order.
Jesse's gonna try and turn it.
Well, I'm.
Okay.
But
We are adjourning our meeting at 1:28. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, well, that's